Thanks, Bucko. It's all on here in the park. I have never seen it I haven't seen it in a while where it's been so between the big rig and the little rig. I'm standing here with Keegan York, Finport Finance. Keegs is going the big rig today. I saw you, Keegan, just videoing other people not having their boats standing upright. We can see behind us Shore and Partners are still on their side. Talk us through what the ruling is and why you're videoing that.
I actually don't know what the penalty is, but I'm just sick of everybody breaking the rules all the time. I know we get pinged for it occasionally, so I think it's fair that it's across the fleet.
Yeah, so what Keegan's talking about, there is a rule here by 2 o'clock that you've got to have your rig selected and upright, and the mast's got to be pointing towards the sky. With the late call, we've seen some people throwing out the big rig, going for the little rig. We can see URMs on the side. We've got these guys have just come up here. We've got Shore and Partners still on their side. So
what are we, 2:05?
2:05. Oh, we're not quite there, Keegan, but calm it down. Anyway, you go get changed, mate. You're about to go sailing.
We might be on time.
We'll walk over here, guys. We're going to try and talk to Alex Vailings, commonly known as Ginge. He's got a company in New Zealand called SeaTech, one of the Kiwi boats. You can see it here. Ginge builds all of the masts now for the majority of the fleet, obviously all the Kiwi boats. Hey, Ginge, let's have a quick chat with you here. Stay there, Christoph, and we'll... So I got Alex here. Mate, big rig, small rig day. It's all good for you. More rigs in the fleet, more business, right?
Wow, not sure about that, but we've gone with little rig today, so it'll be interesting. It'll be bottom end big rig for the bottom end two rig, I'd say, for the first race, and then maybe a bit better in the second race, but rolled the dice anyway.
Exactly, and you guys are a little bit further down the fleet possibly than where you would have hoped, but you've been developing a lot of the rig sail combinations with Honda, who are right up the front, so obviously you've been putting in a lot of time and helping them out. Over the past couple of years, what's that sort of involved? What have you focused on, rig-wise, sail to rig-wise? Anything there you can give us some trade secrets with?
Well, it's a never-ending quest with boats, Pete, always. And obviously Honda's going pretty well, so we've just done small modifications to the rigs over the years after we got a baseline. So the new rigs aren't too dissimilar to what Honda's doing right now.
Okay.
So yeah, just small advancements.
And how many of the boats? I mean, you've probably got like 8 or 9 or 10 boats in this fleet that are running your masts?
Yeah, approximately. All the Kiwis, of course, and Tech 2 is running our rigs at the pointy end of the fleet, obviously.
And our sponsor yesterday was North Sails, and I know you guys are running Norths, but I know that you integrate with them a lot. You're doing a lot of the battens within the sails.
Yeah, we've got a Doyle's jib for our two rig here. That we got last year is going pretty well, and that convinced some of the fleet to go Doyle's this year, which I don't know how it's working for them, but it seems like it's good to have a bit of competition in the fleet with different sails. Makes it interesting. We do a lot of battens for both Norths and Doyle's, so yeah, all of the Kiwi boats have got SeaTech battens and Tech 2 and some of the other Aussie boats as well. So I'm happy about that.
All right, well, we'll let you go and get out there, and hopefully it's little rig day for you guys.
Yeah, I think it should be. We're pretty powered up with the two rigs, so it should be okay.
Good idea. All right, Ginge, see you later. So you can see there's a bit of questioning. We've got the Shore and Partners here with the little rig, Tech 2 little rig. These guys here did a late change in this end of the park. We've got Smeg with the little rig. At the other end of the boat park here, though, you'll be interested to know that Honda's gone. So our series leader at the moment has gone with the big rig, and in second spot, Winning Group has gone with the little rig. So it's going to be, we're going to really see what the benefits are and what the losses are. The breeze has slowly been building. I mean, they've been talking about a sort of 14, 15 knot crossover for these sails. Should be 14 knots right now. And speaking with Roger Badham before Clouds, he said it's going to be over 15 knots. So that's why Winning Group have gone down that route. And we'll wait and see how it plays out in the results today. We've got big Pete Harris. He'll be pretty happy about second rig, wouldn't you, Pete?
Makes it easy. I'm not sure about the breeze though.
Well, Pete, I know he's been talking to his old man up the corner, who's up at Watson's Bay getting the call. What was his advice?
He said big rig, not too windy up at Watson's Bay. So
is it,
disobeyed my father, first time in my life.
Yeah, well, your kids will probably do that one day too, Pete. So they're finally getting there. Sean Langman, he's gone the little rig. We'll just sort of walk through the park here, guys. Everyone's pretty flat out, still rigging up their boats with this late change. And just sort of update you on who's going big, who's going small. I was talking to Woody before. We might try and catch him for a quick comment. We didn't want to give him the commentator's curse, but he said the other day when we spoke to him, he got a third, so he's got no issues there. Woody, we'll go a quick chat. He loves a chat, Woody. Fellow Burning Man friend. Woody, we spoke to you the other day. You got a third.
Yeah.
We're not going to curse you today, but you're in third overall, mate. You're holding back a big cluster of boats. They're only a couple of points behind you. Any pressure? You feeling any nerves?
Not really. Top 10 was my goal, has been for the last few years. So to be where we are now is pretty unbelievable, and you never know. I think I'm pretty happy with what I think we're going to get in the rig we've got on. Slightly bigger headsail, so that sort of helps us in the downrange second rig. And I guess it'll be what it'll be, won't it?
Now, it will be, Woody, that's for sure. Now, Woody, we won't discuss your age, but you've certainly, I think since Howie's dropped out of the fleet, probably, most senior by probably a good 15 to 20 years.
I think I've only got 10 on Sean.
Oh, okay, Sean, we forgot about him. So, but you're holding him off quite well right now, so you're winning that, the Grand Masters.
You got to remember too, the Foradan's 53. That's a pretty outstanding effort.
Yep.
To be still, I couldn't be up there. The only job I can do is steer. I wouldn't want to be working any strings.
And this is the first year this year with new middleman Jasper?
Fang, yeah.
Fang?
Jasper, yeah. He's. I sailed with him a couple of years ago in New Zealand, and he's a pretty good hand then, but I think he's a better hand now even. Not that... He certainly made a big difference for us.
Good on you, Woody. Oh, well, we'll let you get ready and get dressed up and get out there, mate.
See what happens, eh?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good day between the two. Marcus, we'll just quickly chat to you. We'll come around this side so we get him in the sunlight. He's also still rigging up the boat. Might pick up a couple of his ginger hairs on the side of his face. Mate, you've gone the big rig.
Yeah.
A few others on the small rig. What's your sort of thinking there?
Who's on the small rig? We're not sure.
Oh, I would say probably Winning Group, Smeg, Shaw and Partners, a lot of them.
Gotcha. Oh, we had the big rig lift in from yesterday, so we just went with it.
Made the call easy. All right, well, we'll let you get to it. Bit of laziness making his decision there. Got a little bit of aqua aerobics or whatever we call it, bit of yoga getting going. I like it. Get into it. Come past here, we've got a keg of beer sitting on the side of the boat park here. Big rig, small rig?
Big rig.
Big rig.
Big rig, big races.
Big rig win big sales win big races. Just everyone's chaos here at the moment. So we're walking up the end. We're going to have a chat with the Honda boys. Matty, we spoke to you yesterday.
Yeah.
You've gone with a big rig today.
It's about 12 knots up there, so
About 12 knots. You're talking it down, or?
we'll see.
So where do you guys get your information from, or how did you make that call? How did you come to make the call with obviously a few other boats against you going the second rig? How have you decided to make your call with the big rig?
We thought the whole fleet was going big rig, and so we're happy to match the fleet in general. We back our rigs at both ends of both ranges, so we're not too worried. But we're using the live readings out there from the harbour and the various websites.
Okay. All right. And with Winning Groups, obviously your closest competition, them going the small rig.
Yeah.
Has that changed anything?
No, we thought they were going big rig actually, but then somehow they got their little one on. But
There we go.
yeah, we saw another boat over there down after the bow, which is not against the rules, but
Yeah.
it is against the rules. But we'll see what happens later with that.
All right. Well, there we go. We didn't see them coming up late or anything, but the talk is that maybe they may have. Look, the talk was at the other end of the park they were going to try and catch the Honda out. They've done that, so now we have to wait and see how the breeze is. To me, my personal feeling is to go the small rig here. It looks to be building. Sam, maybe we'll chat to you.
What do you got, Troy?
Well, mate, you know, you guys you've snookered the Honda here. They thought you were going the big rig. They were going to just match you. Now they've gone the big rig and you've gone the small rig.
Yeah, I don't know. We're surprised. We wanted to do a different rig, but surprised they didn't copy us. But I guess they're pretty confident with themselves. They're obviously super confident that they're going to win. So they've chosen to go the big rig, and so we'll see what happens.
And they were just mentioning then that perhaps you put the mast up after the bell. Did you hear the bell? Or
the bell? Yeah, we're up about 5 minutes before to make sure we were, but there's a few boats down. We're looking for the rules guy, but nowhere to be seen. But
yeah. Keegan York was standing in the middle of the park. He had the video camera out at 2 o'clock showing the people that were still down. So we'll see if it's at the discretion of the race committee, but we'll wait and see.
It's going to be some good racing out there, so
Sam,
looking forward to it.
One of the sponsors today is Harkin, and obviously you have a lot to deal with them.
Yeah.
You want to talk through any of the parts on the boat that you've worked with them?
Look, we've been with Harkin for 10 years now, and you know it's just clear they lead the industry. You know, they're always developing, always making a new product, always innovating. So it's, you know, I think there is only one choice on a boat like this. You know, you go look at all the Grand Prix boats around the world and they're all Harkin. So, you know, there's a reason for it. They've got the best gear, it's the most reliable. So, yeah, we're super happy. Perfect.
All right, well, we'll leave Sam get his gloves on, and he'll have to go and listen to Sevi yelling at him today. Sevi, you've obviously got Honda with the big rig on. If it comes into your conditions, which, you know, she's there or thereabouts right now, you've obviously only with a drop, you're 4 points behind them. We've got 2 races on today. They could be stuck out there on the big rig today in a big breeze. Is that sort of play into your mind coming into the second race this afternoon?
Oh, I think we just got to sail our own race. Those guys are, you've seen them all regatted. It doesn't really matter what rig they've got on. They're going to be bloody good. So we've just got to go out, worry about us. We just went with what we think's the right rig. And, yeah, hopefully we've made the right choice.
And what I was sort of referring to there, boys, is, you know, if Honda find that they're out of range with this sail and it puts them back down the fleet, obviously Sevi, about 6 other boats are gone with you on the big rig, so it could be a Division 1 and a Division 2 today. You might have to sort of sail Honda back a little bit to get them back further in the points.
Oh, at the moment, we've just got to win, or, you know, do the best we can. I don't think their drop's only a 3 or something at the moment, so obviously, you know, I guess we've got to see how we go in the first race and see what happens. At the moment, we've just got to try, and there's still half, I think 70% of the fleet are on second rig, so we've got to make sure we beat all them if it is in our conditions. But at the moment, we've just got to do our own race and see what happens.
Perfect. All right, we'll let you go. We'll come this way, boys. I know that Sevi is, that was a complete lie. He's got that in the back of his mind. He's been talking about it already, so I know he's not going to let that go. Come over and chat to you, Jack. We'll chat to Jack here. He's not having the best results, but we're chatting to him because his sponsor, Del Zotto, is a sponsor of the day today. Mate, I've seen you guys out there sailing, but I would have expected probably a bit more than you. What's happening?
Oh, no, I think it's just kind of the nerves of the JJs, a lot more boats on the track, and also a lot of other boats, day sailors sailing around. I don't know, sometimes the nerves just gets you, and yeah, just trying to get somewhere.
It's all right. Today's a new day, and you've got another 2 races, and see you've gone the big rig here.
Yeah, we've got the big. Some of them are gone small, but we're up this end. We're all gone big, and down the other end of the park, they're all gone little. So it's just see what happens. You know, we're kind of big boys as well, not the smallest boys. And yeah, it's northeasterly, so big rig, go around, win with Lewis. You know, carry the biggest kite you can down. It's the whole tactic, isn't it?
Big salesman, big races. Yeah. Mate, and you've done this for a couple of seasons now?
Yeah, I think this is my 4th season now. We've had our sponsor, obviously Del Zotto, who's sponsored us for 3 years. And they're really, really good sponsors. They like to talk to us all the time, you know, a couple of jokes here and there. And yeah, they give us a lot of support, which is what we want to have. So
good on you, Jack. Well, all the best today, mate. Put it on for your sponsors today, eh?
Northeasterly.
There you go. We should just have a quick chat to... These guys are famous after yesterday's 45-minute win in race 2 yesterday. And you looked all right there in race 3 for a bit. You're still at the front. You'll be happy with how yesterday went, right?
I was trying to consolidate my fame and do a pod end tack across the fleet, but it didn't really work out for me. But I don't regret my decisions.
Yeah, well, you should. You just learn from them, mate. In the top, you're in the 8th position here. So, if we had looked at the Bird and Bear for the folks at home probably a couple of months ago, I would have thought she'd be at the back of the fleet, and you've sort of really turned it around, mate. You've come in. You only joined, I think, this year. The team, was it, or when did you start sailing with them?
About 2 weeks after Christmas.
Yeah. So they got into it this year. They've tuned it up, and they've only had really 2 months. And we saw them win the heat of the Giltinans yesterday afternoon. They're an 8th overall. And what's sort of been the change? Obviously, you've jumped onto the helm, but any other sort of changes on board?
New boat, obviously. We've got Cam on, stepping in for Nick, which is great to have him. Yep. And Nick Sales, they're rippers in the light.
Yeah, he had a good day there with Woody and with you guys yesterday.
Yeah, it went so well. We thought we'd try the same rig today, but I think it's going to be about 15 or 20 knots, so it might be a bit of a different story.
Be holding on. And you had a big rip in your spinnaker yesterday. You repaired that overnight?
Yeah, Nick was a bit angry because it was wet, but argued that out with him this morning, and I assume it's repaired. I haven't.
So everyone's going in. Question today, big rig or small rig? I'm pretty excited when everybody sort of blows it apart. And as I said, I think even just talking to Tommy Clout there, who's on the big rig, he was sort of thinking he should be on the other one. I totally agree with him. I think a few of these blokes will be tuned right up, but they do have a lot of depowering they can do. Honda will know exactly what limits they can go to. I know they would have sailed at home in Auckland. If Phil would have stopped here, wait for Woody to go through. Sailed in Auckland a lot and worked out their crossover. And they'll know their limits. They'll know how to sail up range with this sail combination and work it out. So we're just going to leave you guys for a little bit. We might come back to you shortly when we find Michael Coxon from North Sails and have a little chat with him. Here, guys. Good for us to go. All right. Michael Coxon, North Sails, Sydney. Coco, welcome. Thanks for sponsoring the event yesterday.
Oh, it was our pleasure.
Obviously, a lot of the boats, especially at the front of the fleet, are running your sails. What's been the change? I mean, you've been involved with this sport for 40 years, I suppose, with the 18s, right?
I hate to say it, I have. I started sailing 18s in the 70s, so with some other faces around here who look very familiar. Look, the class over the last, 15 years has been really interesting because it went to one design in hulls, and I think that's actually saved the class and the restrictions they brought in, because the costs were getting out of control. So the value is now there for the sponsors, and it means that we can spend more time looking at the rigs and the sails, and not so much time rebuilding or building new boats every year, which ate up a lot of the capital. So it's a lot more level playing field today, and I think we're seeing that in the racing. I mean, if you look at the racing over the last couple of 3-4 days, it's been very, very close, really. There haven't been boats. Yesterday we saw the leading boat got richer in each race, but if you actually look back through the fleet, it's very, very close racing, and I think that's a credit to all the sailors and the class.
Yeah, and we're at the 3DI sails now. We saw for a period, I mean, when you would have first started, perhaps Dacron and then to Kevlar, and now then we went to 3DL for a while, and now into 3DI sails. Just talk us through that process and that sale, and then also maybe just touch on the structured luffs that we're starting to see on some of the headsails.
Sure. Well, I've actually, I'm old enough that I've actually been involved with everything from Dacron through to the current day 3DI. So it's been an interesting process, and 18-footers have always been one of the development platforms for yachting in general, and North Sails internationally look upon the 18s as a great area to do experiments in that way. I actually had the very first Kevlar sails ever in Australia on KB, and I remember one day went out in a very fresh westerly and came back, and they were all supported by sticky back, and all we had was a sticky back left. So that was against Dacron in those days, and then Mylar. But the 3DI, basically we do a helix sail we're experimenting with, where you put extra fibre up the luffs of the sails, and on the jibs specifically, and we're trying to just get more range out of the sails, and it's perfectly suited for that because we can put structure in and out as we see fit. It's still a work in progress, meaning that there are boats out there we're testing it in. We haven't gone across the board this year with the fleet because we don't want to use our clients as guinea pigs, so we picked some selected boats, and in doing so we sorry, I think that's me. I'll sort that out. Yep. So in doing so, we get to test, and we'll debrief that. We're playing with Honda. We're playing with Kitchen Maker, Smeg. Quite a few of the boats we've done some test sails on Noakes Red, their little jib the other day, which was interesting because they're a very light crew and became pretty competitive, more competitive than they usually are. Okay.
And we've seen that obviously filter over into the maxi boats, the IRC boats, with the structured luff sails happening on the cableless sails now in the furling area. Where do you see the next shift in development coming beyond this?
Yeah, well, I think cable is we actually use cables, just soft, lighter cables. I think it's a big ask a sail to take full rig support off the membrane itself. So we share the load on the sails. Where's it going? It's an interesting question. I think because of the construction we can now put into the sails, it's an open sketch pad. We can try all sorts of things. So that's what the 18s are fun for. You can actually have a bit of a try. And as I say, my school's out really. There are boats that they're going no slower with the sails, but I think we're only looking at small percentage differences. It's not huge, and we'll keep monitoring it as it goes along. And
fantastic.
Yeah, one of the interesting things here is because of there's a sail restriction on the sails. There are a lot of boats here who actually aren't using new sails every year. Yeah. You've got to work that into it, and that's one of the great things with the 3DI. It gives us a lot of range to the sails.
And just talk us through that. I mean, I think each boat's allowed 3 new sails per year.
Yeah. If they've got the budget, they're entitled to 3 new sails. If they do an overseas regatta, they can have a 4th. The boats have 6 sails in their inventory. Yep. An example would be Tech 2. If you look at Tech 2, she was a new boat, the latest boat launched, but she had to work around 3 new sails and 3 old sails. Yep. Well, her spinnakers, because it's funny, people have been saying to me how that she's one of the fastest boats downwind. They are 2016 Smeg spinnakers. Yeah. So they're not even new.
And even there, I think their rig they had up yesterday, the big rig, they had the grey 3DI sails, right?
Yeah. Well, that is purely done for sponsor request. He wanted something that looked a little bit different. So the grey is actually just an additional ply we put over the top of it to give the colour. So it's actually there's no advantage to it. In fact, it adds about 2 kilos to the weight of the sails. But it actually is to keep the sponsor happy. He wanted grey, he wanted something different.
That's important. All right. Well, thanks for talking to us today, Michael.
No problem.
See you later. We won't shake your hand. So here we go. All right. And North Sails yesterday. Thank you to them for sponsoring that event. We've obviously had Harkin and Del Zotto today, keeping it going. The last of the boats are just going in. We've got Birkenhead Point. They haven't had the best of week. I was talking to them about that little altercation some people may have seen. Maybe we can put it up in tomorrow's highlight reels, a little altercation with a moored boat. But they just managed to get hooked up, and it took them a while to clear themselves of that. They're the second to last boat going in, and they need to sort of pull themselves back up from the bottom of the fleet. And they've been sailing really well before the regatta, but since then they haven't had the best of JJs. As the guys Jack on Del Zotto said, the nerves of the JJs. I mean, it's all very well coming down here each week and going sailing, but when this regatta happens and you've got 7 days of racing coming up, everyone, the Kiwis obviously arrive, the level of crews go up, everybody turns up. It really sort of brings a bit of height and some of those nerves translate back into some poor results for some people. So we're looking forward to getting out there today, seeing who's picked the right rig and who's picked the wrong one. Looks like she's about 16 out there right now. So from where I'm standing, which is it's a bit of an elevated spot, I'd be on the little rig right now. But we're going to see these guys with the big rigs. Once they get upwind, they're going to be pretty quick downwind. Unfortunately, with the two windward lewards, those downwinds aren't going to be as long as our normal harbour courses. So I think the boats that can get upwind today will be able to hold off the others downwind. But I could be completely wrong. So we'll see you out there, guys.
Welcome back, the Camera Cat. I'm Andrew Buckland. Today with me on our piece of machinery, Michael Chittenden directing operations, John O'Witty on the drone, Piers Hasgard on the primary camera, Jimmy on the driving stick, and my co-commentator, Mark Healy. Welcome, Mark. Welcome, Jimmy. Lovely shiny day, brothers, eh? And as we said, diminishing amount of sporting events in the world. We're still going, and for the viewers, the expectation is we'll sail 2 more races tomorrow, and then that might be the end, and that would be a full complement of races for the regatta.
Yes, that's right, Bucko. It's a sad state of affairs, but the update is that we are racing today, 2 races, as you said. Tomorrow, we hope to get up to 2 races in. That's subject to the event getting shut down. That's a governmental issue. The club is intending to race tomorrow, but whatever happens after tomorrow, the event will finish. The race, this event, JJ traditionally goes on to finish on a Sunday, but this event will be going at the most. We'll be finishing tomorrow, which will be Thursday, local time here in Sydney. So strange times indeed, but this regatta, yesterday we weren't even sure how many races we get in. We got a 3-race day, and first time that's ever happened in JJ history. Today it's 2 races, but Jimmy, it's a northeasterly racecourse, which is normally the biggest, longest, baddest racecourse in town, but 2 today, so I guess it might be just a little shorter.
Yeah, speaking to Jeremy, one of the assistant starters, he was saying we're going to do a 6 over 2, which is the windward leeward course, in just 2 laps. But we've got that quarantine ship there, so they're talking about just moving it up a little bit. But yeah, it's going to be good. We won't be going around Shark Island, that's the only difference, and only be doing 2 laps. So the guys are just going to have their heads screwed on which way they go around the top mark and so forth, which is, they'll be going around the opposite way to the way they normally would go around the Beachville boys. So as long as the boys keep that in mind.
So Jimmy, just I have been talking to the race officials to get sort of a 40-minute race, 2 laps. They're trying to fabricate a 10-11 minute beat, yeah?
Yeah, thereabouts, right? Yeah. Like it's hard for them.
10, 11, 12, something like that.
And especially now that we've got a split fleet on rigs, so that's going to make it interesting for them, or very difficult for them to make it to try and ideally get the right course length in, Bucko. But they've done a great job so far, I think, the race committee. So there's we'll just wait and see. I'm sure they got their heads around it and they know what roughly the distance is over time.
Yeah, a normal beat, nor'easter flood tide, probably be 18 minutes. So that suggests they might use something that's, approaching 1.3 miles, 1.2 miles perhaps.
Yeah. So we'll get in nice and close here to Birkenhead Point. You can talk about these guys, from the moment they get these boats up with the mast painting towards the sky, and they've got to get them out from the little shallow beach and get out between a lot of moored boats. And we did hear about Birkenhead Point. They got hooked up with one of them coming in the other day, and but you can see they're short tacking out here the whole time. We'll help Tommy save the ocean.
We're going to tack you.
Yeah, no worries. And here they go for another tack. You can see the boys running through, short and close. Normally we've got a ferry coming in on Sundays, the island ferry, which goes out to a bar on the harbour. So there's normally a lot of traffic, and then they've got to contend with each other. So it starts from the moment we leave the dock here. And Bucko, you would have done this a bit back in your day, right? You left from the same beach?
Yeah. Back in my day, Troy, and it was an infinitely long time ago, nearly, for all the viewers.
Wasn't as many boats in the bay, Bucko.
Operated under different rules, but pointedly, there was no rigs up rule, and the last man to make the call could, optimise his rig selection extremely late, to the point that on the standard northeast course, we would only make a rig selection with about 20 minutes before race time. So we'd be making a rig call relative to the start today about 10 minutes ago only.
And
a different sport.
Yeah, and I don't mind that, this 2 o'clock thing, these guys will still make the start. Obviously they won't have any prep, they'll probably sail straight to the line, but they had to be upright by 2, and it just gives everyone a bit too much time. I'd like to see them having to make the call when they want, and if they miss the start, they miss the start.
Yeah, and there's only an afloat rule in the ISAF rules, which say that you must be afloat by the 5-minute gun, and that means you can't be standing there putting the centreboard and rudder in. But take the point that the traditional northeast course here is only about a 3-minute sail from the beach out to the. If you sheet on and sail hard, you're at the leeward end in about 3 minutes.
So, Bucko, we were talking a little bit earlier with Michael Coxon back in the Kevlar Dacron sales days. I know you've been involved with the sail development a lot. I think from what I got told by Tom Anderson and Elliot Scully's, Tom Anderson's father-in-law and Elliot Scully's father, that you invented the asymmetric spinnaker. Just talk to us about where you came up with that idea.
Well, I mean, it was. I don't think it's an invention; it's just an evolution. But as we got faster boats and we got better foils, we got faster boats, we got better foils, and suddenly we're going downwind all the time using all the crew. Best VMG was everybody on the end of the wing in the days of short wings. And so the apparent wind, until it was very windy, was never behind the boat. So then, just the thought process that says, we've spent a whole year with the pole on the headstay. We don't need the pole, we just need a big long snout. And so that sort of came to be at the end of the 82 season. And I'd been sailing, it was after, the Colour 7 that I sailed with Ian Murray and Don Buckley. We'd sort of gone our separate ways from that outfit, which was pretty formidable. And I was sailing with Pete Sorensen, Tia Maria. So we'd won the Giltinan with a carbon boat that Peter's wife Marilyn built. And so then, when we had enough budget for a new boat every year back in those days. And so the phone call to Pete, look, I think we can go without a spinnaker pole. And a bit of a discussion, and he said, all right, we'll do that. So that's how it started, and I designed the rigs for Julia Methwaite's Prime computer as well. And he was the first to use it because he had a pretty rapid build in strip plank balsa for his two-hander that went to a regatta in Newport, Rhode Island. So the first time it was seen in public was at Newport, Rhode Island before the 83 America's Cup. But I guess probably the Tia Maria back in Sydney, we were the first to launch on the harbour here with an asymmetric, with a cantilevered carbon pole, and therefore the first into the fleet here. But obviously it was a bit of a revolution. We didn't quite realise how big the impact would be, but that's the story of how it came to pass.
Well, thanks, Bucko. Well, you certainly were involved with changing the sport back then, and your voice is changing it these days. Here we are with one of the boys who have gone with the number 2 rig, the Smeg. Ricky's just in the middle. Ricky's pretty happy, just adjusting the Traveller, the bridle there, just to try and make sure they can get enough sheet on going upwind. We're going to see how this big rig little thing goes. What are your thoughts, Bucko? What if you were a picking man right now? What would you be happier on?
Well, I think it's going to be a race in two parts, isn't it? The first race is going to be big rig and the second race is probably going to be little rig. And, you know, what we've got down here is 12, 14 down the bottom. And depending where the windward mark is, we'll still see a visit to Bradley's where it might be above 14. And as it gets up range, the small rig comes into play as the handling starts to get difficult on the big rig. And obviously...
Well, also from a drag point of view, you know, like upwind...
Straight line speed. The upwind crossover is probably 16, Troy. The handling crossover might be 14, yeah?
Copy. Oh, well, we'll take that. We're coming over here to these boys here. So we're talking through the points. Obviously, after the first race today, we get a drop. If you drop the worst result from the winning group and from Honda, there's only actually 4 points in it. So, you know, it's not an all-over regatta here. Honda don't have this thing stitched up. And these boys are just sizing up the start line, having a good look, praying for a bit of wind probably, and hoping, fingers crossed there from Sevy.
Yeah, Sev's put it all in the black, hasn't he? Really, and I don't blame him for having a crack. It's
he doesn't mind a bit of gambling, but you know, all in, loves it, all on black. So you know, we got another ship coming down the harbour. We've seen a few ships quarantined in Sydney Harbour. There's about 6 of them, big cruise ships at the moment. We've got a bad rig up here on the Bird and Bear that Christoph's just showing you. We might try and head over there and see what's going on. Maybe they're just maybe that repair wasn't done that we were just talking to them about in the park if you're following our footage earlier. We'll just try and get right over there. Let's get in there, Noddy. It's all on. You can see Tom's trying to keep it all upright.
Yeah, not too far away from signals here, Troy, so yeah, they're going to sort that out. But they've only got about 6 minutes till the race starts, so they better get their act together.
Yeah, you all good, Tommy? Yeah, they look like they're all right, so we'll let them go. They're pretty concentrating here. A lot of spectators turning up out here today. Everyone in a bit of self-isolation mode out here. Some beautiful boats. We've got a big cruise ship at the pin end of the line, so you won't be able to set up too far out there, but you're still plenty of space. Yeah, we'll head over. We'll try and get close into the start-finish boat. See if we can have a quick chat for them. They might have a bit of an update on the forecast for us. They're getting pretty close to signals. We'll get right in there, Noddy. They got us at 025, 1.4 mile course here. So here we go, ready for a hooter here. All these volunteers helping us out week in, week out. This regatta really wouldn't happen without the volunteers. Boys, you got us any update on the forecast? What are your thoughts? There's no thoughts. All right, we'll come back to them later, boys. All yours.
All right. So Mark, looking at this, interesting, isn't it? Down where we are, 12 knots. Probably, we'd predict, what do you reckon, Jimmy, 16 at Bradley's?
16 at Bradley's, and I reckon that's where it'll slowly build and stay.
Have we found the windward mark yet? That will be the next key issue.
1.4 mile from our current location, brother.
1.4.
At a bearing of 025.
80% of the way to the Beachel buoy, Mark.
So it'll be an inflatable, Jimmy, won't it? It's going to be a buoy with a black and white on it, probably, or it'll be a bright orange one. But it's going to be up near the normal windward mark of a northeasterly course. So we'll watch this up near Watson's Bay. And our start area is not that far up from where it normally is on a traditional course. We have got these big cruise liners in the way, but it hasn't shifted the start point that much. But as Jimmy said before, we're not going around Shark Island. It's just an up and a down, a two-lapper. That was 4-minute gun you heard just then. So 2 races today. It is possible, like we said yesterday, today could be the last day. So each race absolutely critical. There's not a big gap between Honda and winning group. It is 5 points once the discards come in, which will be after the race today. Once you get 6 races in, you get to discard 1. So we're going to keep a very close eye on those points. But there's some other boats right in this. Shaw and Partners have got a 23 to drop. And when 23 comes off Shaw and Partners, they're right in this mix. If, for instance, winning group had a couple of bad races. But, Jimmy, what's your thoughts about quickly on Shaw and Partners? We're getting close to the start. Where the heads are at right now?
I spoke to Timmy before. Their heads are all okay. They've got a new second-hand spinnaker on board. So things are looking okay for them as they're just going past us, just reversing out of their way. Not a lot of runway where we are either side of the line. They've got a cruise ship one side and they've got the land the other side, Mark.
Yeah, you can see on camera now that left-hand ship, that one is anchored and our pin end is just off their bow. That'll make it simple to find a transit here. The other ship, it's moving slowly down the harbour, but as luck would have it, it'll be out of our way by the time we start. Bucko, will there be any kind of a vacuum left behind by that cruise ship?
No.
Or will it be clear by the time we start?
It'll be perfectly fine. And, you know, the ferry's just gone to Manly, so it is pretty tidy, despite looking a little congested. Same old deal, Marco. Drag race to Bradley's Head.
2 minutes, 15 seconds. So despite the fact the start line is up a bit, Bradley's Head is still a big issue here.
Yep, exactly. More pressure, more left. Let's take the camera cad there, Jimmy.
Just a couple of seconds till the 2-minute gun. Set your watches at home. Here we go. That is a 2-minute gun until we get to race number 6. Here in local time, it's Wednesday here on Sydney Harbour.
And I think what you'll see here is a fair compression of the fleet at the leeward end, and that's how they're racking up, isn't it?
Yeah, and we're going to, just before we get into the 1.5 minute, Bucko, what's your thoughts right now? Big rig versus small. What would you want to be on right now?
Big, right now.
Big. Now, we're all guessing, you were saying, Jimmy, weren't you, small rig at the top of the race course?
I reckon the second race will...
Second race, yeah.
Second race, but definitely right now you'd be...
Mark, it does look pretty interesting. The Sheet Union, that's Jimmy and me, for your information, right? We're saying we want the big sail in.
Yep.
Job's done, right? Don't have to ease any. Good. Let's go. But it does look as if there's enough cloud out the back. It might be softening a bit as we go here.
Yeah, let's wait and see. The forecast is to be what it is now, which is 12-ish, 13-ish, building to 15.
Yeah.
A few people saying build to 17 later, some saying it won't happen. We'll wait and see. Rig choice critical. 1 minute to go. Rig choice undoubtedly critical here. And remember, our series leader, Honda Marine, is on a big rig, and winning group is one of a smaller number of boats, which is on a small rig.
So we haven't done our boat selection, but Jimmy, today you'd expect it might be a pretty good day for the Finport, with a big rig in.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Keegan seemed pretty angry in the park early on when you were speaking to Troy. So how would you know?
That's because he was OCS.
No, I think, plays into Finport, that's for sure. They're one of the better ones in the top end of the big rigs. So
the 25 seconds to go. Shaw Partners in the hard pin position. They look like they might be a little bit early to be there down that far left end. You can see Shaw Partners, and there's Smeg and Tech 2, Bird and Bear down the left end. Honda Marine bang smack in the middle. Winning group, a couple of boats to leeward of them. We're going to see how much of an advantage the big rig is, but at the moment it's definitely big rig conditions. As we're approaching just 3 seconds to go to the start.
1.
Pretty good.
There is your start.
Oh, Shaw and Partners might have been over. Shaw and Partners looked like they had crewmen over the line to me.
Super close. Shaw and Partners either nailed it. There's no second gun.
Second
gun. Call is for a clear start. We're off and running. Race 6 here, Wednesday afternoon. It's 2:45 in Sydney Harbour. 2 races today. Here's the first one, and it is a little bit more chop, Bucko, than I was expecting, and a little less wind. This could play right into the hands of all the big rig boats.
Yeah. Flat water, flood tide, flat-ish water, but you don't need a shortage of power. You need to be able to lean on the jib a little bit. Finport, I would say, already making inroads here. The guys, winning group and Tech 2 down the leeward end, both with small rigs. Yeah. Finport bolted in. Wow. Honda Marine, trademark windward heel in the middle of the line, clean wind. They'll be able to deal with Dalzotto pretty easily.
Yeah, very early days, but as Bucko said, Finport in good shape at broadly the right end of the line, come out of the right-hand side. They're just charging on nicely. Honda Marine looking comfortable in the middle. They found themselves a lane, plenty of space for leeward. and then C-Tech, the next one to lead, and then Winning Group, the best of the small rigs. Well, maybe Shaw and Partners are even better than them, all looking in decent shape. No problem with the fast forward speed of the small rigs, just not sure if they're going to have the height as they get into Bradley's Head. But it's always the same on this northeasterly course. The big issue is who gets into Bradley's, but who tacks and clears on port tack and comes out in decent shape. We often see capsizing and boat handling issues, and sometimes the race is decided in this first manoeuvre. We're about 45 seconds from that first cross at Bradley's. Off the top of your picture, that's where Bradley's Head is. It's coming up soon. At the moment, the leader into Bradley's is Shaw and Partners, who won that pin, and Tech 2 up to windward of them, Winning Group up to windward again, and then it's Honda Marine, C-Tech, Del Zotto, Four Pines, and Finport still looking impressive in the middle of the line.
So, Mark, as we discussed here, the good compression against the headland here, breeze up to 14 here, but it looks to me as if Shaw and Partners going to cross all the guys, other guys that started at leeward end. They did press their luck pretty hard at the get-go, and they're getting out of the adverse current, and you can see them just coming around the bow of the guys still out in the middle of the channel to some degree, some pretty good degree actually.
And the breeze is up, Bucko, isn't it? At the moment, small rigs, no problem at all.
Yeah, no, it's okay, but remember, about half the course is not on this side, is it?
No, you're right. We're in the place where there probably is the most breeze in the whole of Sydney Harbour, but right here it is a small rig. There goes Shaw and Partners tacking off the rocks. They're right in off it. They think they're going to be good to go. They're going to cross Tech 2. I think they're going to cross Winning Group as well. Yep. And Winning Group will happily just slot in second position. We'll have to see what happens as Honda Marine, the first of the big rig boats, approaches that pack. It looks like Shaw and Partners are clear across, but I don't think Winning Group are. No. Not a great tack from Winning Group, nor Tech 2. Here comes Honda Marine on starboard, top of your picture. What's going to happen here? Winning Group, big duck. Oh, just ahead of C-Tech. Nicely executed by Winning Group. Big duck, but they got away with that.
Some pretty nice sailing there.
Wasn't it? Very well. Great boat handling by Winning Group. Not a lot of space to get through there.
Now, Finport gets a little advantage here. Even though they're about fourth on the water at the moment, they get furthest left, smoother water and out of the adverse current. And Honda Marine with them as well.
Honda Marine just across them on that port starboard, but nothing in that one. No calls of protest, just skinny as you like. But Honda Marine, fine judgment. They take up a nice position, strong position on the left of the fleet, as you said, with Finport as well. The two best big rig boats on the hard left. We'll see how that plays out.
Yep. Well, and I think you'll see them digging back in. You know, they'll just sail for about 300 yards on port, and I think they'll slide back in to the current protected side, the current coming in, current lined up with the wind, so let's go and hide in smooth water and less adverse current on the left edge. And Winning
we'll
Group,
see them play the left a lot more today.
Winning Group in, and the structure of the wind also bending left on the left edge.
So pretty much the whole pack have just tacked back onto starboard to switch the left-hand side, and Shaw and Partners have tacked. Smeg have gone that way too, Winning Group as well, and we'll see what their gaps are. Honda Marine clear across Winning Group, not getting to Shaw and Partners. So Shaw and Partners still leading. It looks like the small rigs are in decent shape for now. There's no real performance advantage either way. It's just a matter of how you start and how you've gone up the first part of this beat.
Yeah, and Finport and Winning Group dead even. Finport a little duck around the back of Winning Group, so that gives you a benchmark to have a look at.
Fabulous sparkling day on Sydney Harbour. Not a lot of spectator boats. The odd one, as I think we were saying before, there's a lot of people who are working from home / in some degree of isolation and isolating on a boat out on the harbour. Not a bad choice if you've got that option, and a few boats out to watch, but basically Sydney Harbour unusually empty. A fabulous racetrack, plenty of space, less ferries than we're used to as well, so it looks like this is as good as it gets for 80-foot skiff sailing.
No, it's pretty tidy, isn't it? But the water's beautiful, Mark, isn't it? No big powerboat wash. The biggest wave we've seen so far is just off the ferry, which is nothing to worry about for these guys. Where we are, the water just nicely ripply, bit of leftover swell from the tropical cyclone up the top of the course, but I don't think the course extends that far. Jimmy, visual on the windward, Mark? Visual?
Not as yet, mate. I've been ducking and weaving boats here, and
yeah, I've got a visual on it. It's just the left of a dark grey naval boat, bang up wind. Too far away for us to get a camera on it.
Copy.
But, we just watch Shaw and Partners flipping onto port, clear ahead still of the starboard tack approach boat. So Shaw and Partner leads. Remember, Shaw and Partners lying in 4th overall, but with a 23-point drop when the discards come in, so it's going to look very, very different. Or there's Noakes having to do a little duck on winning group, but I think Sean Lang was quite happy to do that, didn't really want winning group going on the lee bow. So Noakes and Tech 2. Oh, Noakes and Tech 2, you saw it on camera, perfectly on camera, and that was a flat port starboard, and Tech 2 just didn't see them, all thought they were going to duck or something, but Noakes Red approaching on starboard, all the rights of the world, some kind of a mess up on comms on Tech 2, and Noakes end up capsizing on the tack, and Tech 2 somehow get away with it. I'm pretty sure you're going to see a turn from Tech 2. And they're tacking now, pretty sure they're going to have to go straight into a turn. There's no question they're responsible there. Yeah, there they go. Penalty turn from Tech 2. Noakes Red will not be happy with that little piece of action. They're in pretty good shape on this race, but that has completely messed up their beat. That's just a bit of bad luck, isn't it, Bucko, for Noakes Red, for sure.
Yeah, well, they just got to... Both boats should be a bit more careful on that. I mean, it's what they call an F1 mark, a racing accident, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a racing accident, but Jack McCartney's going to have to be buying more than a few beers for Noakes Red to keep the Christmas cards coming from Sean Langman, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, ahead of us, Royal Oak, not a great day for them yesterday, a bit more breeze today, looking much better, and straight ahead of them, Honda Marine. At the moment, we're not seeing the big rig being any kind of advantage, possibly even a slight disadvantage, but Honda Marine in the mix at the front. Your leader still, Shaw and Partners, and in second position, it's very close between Winning Group and Smeg, and Honda Marine, Finport, Royal Oak, still in this.
So, Mark, Honda Marine here, probably not very far off the Port Tack ley line, in fact.
Yeah, the boys, you said, is in a different position, is it's not as far up. Yeah. We were told by the race committee it would be up with the Beechel buoy, but it's not actually anything like as far as that. And so the ley line is not a million miles. We're about to have a little look at Honda Marine in a second. There's Finport. The buoy is off to the left of your screen from Finport. There's Honda Marine with the trademark windward heel, and the buoy is just a little orange buoy. You might see it now, just off to the left. It wouldn't take much for them to lay.
No, about 150 metres on starboard, which they'd be happy to have, you know, as a good approach into the mark. So the breeze here on the left edge, actually a little fresher up here than we might have expected. So that does tend to bend it around. I think, though, that Honda Marine now leads.
Yeah, it's close, isn't it? It's not a lot. Honda Marine, a little, the mainsail panting, a little bit of the initial inversion. They're somewhere near the top of the range. They won't want much more wind than this, but for now they're making the big rig work pretty effectively. They've got a bit of a clamp on Finport, the other fast big boat rig near them.
And these guys too. Royal Oak isn't slow.
Royal Oak is on big rig.
Yep. Yeah, Royal Oak too. That's exactly right. We're going to see what happens when Shaw and Partners and Winning Group and Smeg. Down there, there's Bird and Bear, SeaTech. That's the leading group, and they're all on small rigs. They're going to be coming across on starboard. We'll get a good sense of where the whole fleet lies. But there's not going to be a lot of difference, I don't think, between our top 10 are going to be very close together.
Yeah. Jimmy, looking at the wind just upwind of where we are, we're travelling with Honda Marine. What do you think here? 14, yeah? Exactly on the crossover, yeah?
Yeah, right on the crossover, Bucko. And I think what we're going to see is a lot of them, especially the guys on the little rig, they're going to be wanting to get over and play the side straight away as soon as they set them spinnakers. They will not be wanting to look at a jibe set just to get into this more pressure.
They'll be coming this way, that's for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
So maybe Honda's second, maybe Shaw and Partners still leading just here, Mark, I don't know. Certainly a yacht race, though, isn't it?
Yeah, and, from this angle, you can see Shaw and Partners top of your screen, just behind Honda Marine. It looks like they would tack and cross, depends on the shift, but it looks like they leading, which means that Winning Group also are in good shape. But Honda Marine and Finport won't be far behind. Jimmy, at the top mark, are we going port or starboard rounding?
Port rounding. It's a compass bearing course, so that's what these guys, that's what I was saying on the way out. These guys, especially the lead guy, has to really make sure that he's switched onto this and doesn't think we're in a northeast course and goes around, well, all YA marks in the harbour, which we use, around to starboard. So
that's one of the quirks of skiff racing. It is that way round. We have seen in previous JJs leading boats going the wrong way round a mark. It is entirely possible to get your head upside down on that one.
Well, after 15 years of going around the windward mark to starboard, why would you go round it to port? I mean, it's a stupid idea, isn't it?
So here we see Winning Group coming, the first of those small rig boats from the right-hand side coming over, and they are going to be across Honda Marine now. So before, Honda were just ahead of Winning Group, now it's switching sides. Not much in it, though. A couple of boat lengths is the difference after 10 minutes sailing. That's interesting. I thought they might have gone all the way and got across them, but they didn't. They're going to be probably pinned in by Honda Marine now. So Smeg carry on all the way to the right-hand side. Shaw and Partners have just tacked. Our leader in the hard right has tacked just short of the rocks.
And he's laying by the look of that.
Yeah, it looks like a lay. Looks like a decent lead as well. Sean Partner's on fire here. They've had a decent regatta so far with just one disappointing race. And of course, you'll have remembered yesterday they had a badly torn spinnaker on the final downwind. So they've got one bad score in their score sheet. Apart from that, it's all been pretty respectable. And if they got a win, for instance, today, drop that 23rd, they are right in the mix. So there is Honda Marine. You can see winning group just to leeward, trying to get some height to come up to Honda Marine's line. Bit of a boat handling test for everyone, maybe particularly those big rig boats. Plenty of pressure on these crews as they approach this top mark for the first time. Just a 2-lap race, up and down, no Shark Island this time round. Either time round, it's just up and down. So top mark for the first time in what is race 6.
So well done.
Day 3 of racing on the harbour.
Well done by the race officers. 12-minute, 13-minute beat. So just spot on the money. And Sean Partners cleanly out of the leeward end of the line, leads by about 20 seconds.
Nice smooth rounding, Shore Partners. Great performance. They won the pin. They were bold and brave, went for it, won it, and they sell a great beat. And Honda Marine are being held up by winning group, but they're on the ley line, so in the end, winning group probably did the right thing. Oh, it's a port starboard call from winning group, but had they completed their tack, these two boats managing to find a way to get into a bit of a fight. Meantime, Michelin on Smeg says, thanks very much. I'll take second place, and that's Smeg in second around the top mark, followed by Honda Marine, followed by winning group. Not sure who called protest, if anyone actually did. But we can all look at the video later on to decide whether or not winning group had, of course, completed their tack, leaving Honda Marine on port, needing to do something about it. Anyway, next around after Honda Marine, it is Finport, followed by another good job by Royal Oak.
Mark, look, I think there, Honda Marine just was a bit slow to tack because they just couldn't get the jib out of the cleat under high load. And that, does tend to happen a little bit. But
they don't have to tack, do they, until the other boat
No, they don't have to tack.
They're not obliged to predict what the other boat's going to do. Anyway, that's a story. We can talk rules later on in the gap between races if we need to, which we might, because these protests can decide regattas. Anyway, Tech 2, you can see on screen the next boat around. We're now getting it just at the end of the top 10. And there is Sea-Tech with Ginge. We had a chat with him in the boat park earlier on. He's looking like having a decent day. Bird and Bear going better today in the fresher stuff after yesterday's great performance in the lighter breeze. And it's all a bit of a muddle and a mess up here. Here's John Winning. I was about to ask Jimmy if he'd seen John Winning on Yandu, because after 2 brilliant days from a performance from John Winning, we're hoping for another one from him.
Mate, absolutely hoping for another good one for him. I didn't check this morning to see if he went for a run, which has obviously been a bit of a assistance to him.
But he is third overall.
Yeah, I know. He's mate, the old Woody will be fine, I'm sure, as he just gets rolled here by 3 boats.
And Mark, I think you did hear him say his sole ambition was to be in the top 10 on the interview. So
that's looking like an understatement. He'll be well and truly in the top 10, I'm pretty sure. So after Yandu, it was Rag and Famish, and then Kitchen Maker, Queenslander, Planters Online, Del Zotto, and behind them, we're just watching Notes Red after that capsize, trying to get back into this race, and Ilve. So that brings you up to date with the top 20 or so. Fantastic pictures. There's the drone showing what drones can do on a sparkling day at Sydney Harbour. Doesn't get much better than this. What a great thing to watch wherever you are in the world, whether you're watching this live or the recorded version. I hope this is brightening your days. Several people are having some dark times right now, but this is fantastic racing. It takes your mind off the more important stuff in life, but right now this is a great place to be. Pretty rough now with a few spectator boats, a few ferries that the camera cats rocking and rolling in, and some of these guys got to be careful. They can't be complacent on boat handling. It's quieter on the harbour, Bucko, but it's not a gimme today, is it? It's rough enough you could make a mistake.
Yeah, no, I mean, with the big rig in particular, you certainly have moments where you've got your hands full. But interesting just watching him here. So Finport not on screen, but having to go luff to go around the back of winning group. And Honda Marine looks like they might have got back in front of winning group there, which is what you'd expect downhill with a big rig.
You're just going to be quicker, aren't you? You're going to be deeper and probably quicker as well.
Yeah. The ferry is now playing a bit of a part. These guys, I don't think, can get the other side of the ferry. They have to jibe.
Yeah, strategic issue. We had this a couple of weeks ago, didn't we, where the ferry went down at VMG. Nobody could get across it.
Yeah, so we can see here, they've all done it. Wow.
Well, the good thing is, like, these guys can still go to a bit flatter water to jibe. They're not having to jibe right in the ferry waves, which is like mission impossible. You don't want to be doing that.
Jimmy, do you think they should switch sides with the ferry while they can? Because any second now,
that's going to be a barrier.
Well, the thing is, the leader's on the other side of the ferry, and he's just getting bounced off the ferry down there. And the other thing that these guys also need to keep in mind is the bottom mark is not where it traditionally is.
Yeah, it's in a different place, you're right.
We can see the bottom mark, Jimmy. It's just on the edge of Double Bay from where we are.
I know we can see it, but have these guys seen it? That's the thing, Bucko.
It's tough. It's tough. I think they have to jibe. Yeah, they're all jibing. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're actually, luckily the ferry's put his foot down and getting out of their way, but only just. More of a disadvantage to Honda Marine. But we can see the gap that Honda Marine have now got on Winning Group. Remember, they went around basically simultaneously with Winning Group. They've now got, what's that, 10, 20 boat length lead?
Well, it's 20 seconds or so.
It's a proper lead anyway, that's for sure. They're going to have a nice bit of breathing space if they can keep it together at the bottom mark as they just try and get themselves across that ferry. So Winning Group and Tech 2 currently look like they're about in 5th or 6th. But Finport also looking in great shape here, Bucko.
Well, they're on intersection course for these guys. Winning Group, I think, going to have to flag the shoot here.
Yeah, it's a port starboard here, so Finport don't get to Smeg, but Winning Group and Tech 2 are both going to have to take avoiding strategies here. Winning Group just in the wrong place at the wrong time. It's a bit of bad luck. They've had to rag a bit. That allows Tech 2 to roll them. Close racing indeed. You see Tech 2's only about, not even half a boat length to windward of Winning Group. She's got to keep clear, but she is keeping clear right now, and if they can just roll another boat length forward, they're about to make Winning Group's day a lot less happy. Dirty air coming Winning Group's way.
Gee, that's a good comeback from Tech 2 from a penalty turn.
Yeah, they've done the penalty turn, that's for sure. I know Sean Langman will think that maybe they should do more than a penalty turn, but that is the rule. They never mean to do that,
and
but it did happen.
Mark, we're here to tell you that the guys with big rigs have all overlaid this on the leeward edge. Honda Marine, absolutely flat stick and not bow at the mark. They're below the mark. They won't be unhappy. They're leading the race pretty comfortably.
Yeah, a bit of boat handling coming up with Honda Marine. At the left of your picture, there is Honda Marine currently second on the water. And she's got to get her big spinnaker down because she's not laying the gate. The leader, Shore & Partners, well, I say the leader, Shore & Partners. I'm not sure Shore & Partners is the leader. Honda Marine might have gone straight into the lead here. Lots of downwind speed, masses of technique. Add that to the big rig, and that is the recipe. They've gone from, 4th or 5th at the top mark, and they've gone right into the lead. First equal, I'm going to put them with Shore & Partners. Let's see what happens. Tech 2 on screen, just overtaking Winning Group. Tech 2 look like they're in about 3rd or 4th. And up at the front, we've got Honda Marine just going into that critical drop. Looks like they've got all the boat hanging skills right now. Honda Marine keeping it calm and easy, and they are going to go round in first position. Tough bit of a corner turn coming up for them. Second is going to be Shore & Partners, and then it's a nice little battle between Smeg, Tech 2, Winning Group, and a fast finishing group behind with Seatech, Finport, Royal Oak, Noakes Blue looking very competitive again today.
Absolute textbook from Honda there. A perfect two-sail jibe and dial up. Didn't bat an eyelid. Mast never left the vertical. Just highly impressive. And Finport's the one who's mucked it up. They've gone too far, and they wouldn't be badly advised to come to the other rounding mark, in fact.
Yeah, they may be forced to do that. So first around the bottom mark, Honda Marine. Second, Shore & Partners. I'll leave at the top mark. Remember, just a 2-lap race. So there's 1 lap now completed. In third place, Smeg, enjoying these fresher conditions, looking super competitive again. They're looking not that bad in the overalls once you give them a discard. And then there's Tech 2, who've made a little bit of a mess of that rounding, as have Seatech. And that allows Winning Group just to sail right round the outside and get some clearer air. But Winning Group dropped a few places there. They're going to have to make sure they don't drop any more to Honda if they want to keep this series alive. Following Winning Group, it's Finport. Well, you can see just the back of your picture there. That's the back of the leading group. The back of, we'll call that the peloton, the leading peloton. You've got Finport, and you've got Noakes Blue and Bird and Bear, and then a little bit of a gap until we get back to Maersk Line, Royal Oak, Appliances Online,
URM on
and
Spinnaker.
Queenslander.
Look, URM here at the bottom mark. Big prawn.
Yeah,
just there on screen.
Did you see what happened in the lead into that, Jimmy?
Mate, I just watched it on the TV, on the monitor. Just seen it all happen.
Oh dear.
So I think they just blew everything and the sheet wasn't grabbed hold of, and round the side it went and straight in the tide it went.
Yeah, they might have been the wrong side of the lay, which of course puts them under more pressure. That leading group have all got round that mark without too much trouble. I don't think any swimmers at this point.
And Mark, interesting though, still the breeze quite suppressed down there at the bottom, only about 12 at the mark itself by the look of that.
Are you surprised, Bucko, by the difference that a big rig seemed to make downwind, or at this crossover point?
Noakes on screen as well there, boys, having troubles at the bottom mark. Noakes,
well, Finport mucked it up. They overstood by 100 metres. If they had got the ley line correct, they probably would have been, between Smeg and Shaw and Partners sort of thing, I think, here. So it's sort of big rig if your rig's in good nick. And look at the breeze here now, Mark, where we are at 2/3 way to Bradley's, just getting into the building pressure at Bradley's, the compression here. So Finport, they've regained what they squandered on the run, and they'll be looking forward to the run of the finish, having got their bearings about where the jibe point is. They shouldn't need a practice run to do that, though. So,
hey, boys, have a look at who is up in this lead pack right here on screen. The Vet Heritage on Noakes Blue. How good is that?
And what a good effort that is. She's light, and they must have gone down the run. I didn't observe too closely, Jimmy, but she must have gone down the run pretty efficiently.
Yeah, they're in decent shape at the top, just outside the top 10 at the top mark. Had a decent beat, but maybe the lighter crew with the smaller rig, that combination means that whereas other crews are not quite fully in range of a small rig, these guys are. And Yvette's shown she knows exactly how to sail this skiff fast in these conditions. Very competitive on the first 2 days, and it's backing it up with another good performance today.
I think she's obviously got that rig dialed in, the second rig definitely dialed in, so it's a big help.
But they've been looking at the tape as well. Like they've sort of halfway to adopting the Honda windward heel there, which is pretty good to see. Solid pressure here at Bradley's. So the breeze in a narrow zone here, not even 300 metres wide, 400 metres wide, up range now, and well into the second rig range here, just in a small part of the course though. So we'll probably see a replay of the first beat. You don't see anybody catching Honda up this beat though, Mark, I don't think.
Well, it just depends if that breeze builds, what happens, but we'll see. I see Honda's mainsail flipping in and out. But at the moment, Honda Marine, they got into Bradley's head, they tack clear, no problem at all. They are leading on the water, and after them it is then Shaw and Partners, Smeg, Tech 2. A bit of friendly hello from CTEC, and then it's and Winning Group. I think I mentioned them before, so we don't have any other changes. It's still pretty tight. There's just the odd boat length between all these boats. It's all up for grabs, certainly looking at the performance of Honda Marine downwind, and I think Finport were pretty fast downwind. I think the big rig boats fancy their chances on the last downwind leg to the finish. They've just got to get through this beat in a respectable place, and my guess is we might see Honda Marine adopting the Bucko strategy of minimum number of tacks here.
Yeah, no, I think they'll go all the way just being the other shore and make it easy for themselves.
Well, the other thing too, boys, is like because they got kicked out of their home club for the, well, not kicked out, had to move their boats away for the 49er FX, the NACRAs. They had to go training elsewhere and after work, so they couldn't just pop down to the club and go training. So they were sort of stuck training late afternoon in Auckland, and as you know, the breeze is well and truly up then.
Oh yeah.
I've had my sources by Sue Ellen confirmed, so they definitely haven't been doing much training. They've done a little bit of sailing in January, and that was about it.
So lead there, gap between Shaw and Partners and Honda, probably 45 seconds, Mark.
Yeah, that's about right. And Shaw and Partners, Smeg, Tech 2, Winning Group, not much between those boats. They're all probably in the same piece of water. They tack on port out to the middle of the harbour, then they tack back. Everybody preferring the left-hand side of the beat, certainly at the first part of it. And then as we get up to the top, they have to switch sides because the buoy is well and truly over to the right-hand side of the harbour, tucked up nearer to Watson's Bay. So here with our leader here on the big rig. They're not doing a lot of mainsail panting now, Bucko, are they? Look right. Oh, as I said, that there goes one. They're basically in a reasonable degree of control. Trademark windward heel. As you said, about a 40-second or so lead.
Looks awesome. But, Mark, measure how much main sheet isn't going in and out. Main sheet movement, Jimmy, you're an expert. Nil.
Perfect, isn't it, Bucko? Just how you like it.
Just wondrous.
Leave the shoulders alone.
That's right.
Right, it's about the only thing they've, if it's a giveaway comment from Honda, has been that their goal is to not adjust the sheet upwards.
Well, you've got to remember, they've been sailing together 5 years as a team.
That's right.
As as a few of the guys over at NZ were saying, and Sue Ellen confirmed it, these guys, you start talking to them and they'll finish each other's sentence. That's how well gelled they are as a team. And we're seeing a masterclass here of just outside of what the big rig is designed for, and how comfortable they make it look.
And they find a way to make it work, for sure.
Oh,
they're fast enough. I don't think they're a faster upwind than the small rig. They look like they're kind of exactly the same, maybe a bit more height from the big rig. We'll take a better view of that when they come together at the top mark. But at the moment, still the leader on screen, tacking now. Not on lay quite yet, but only probably another minute or two on starboard tack to do. There is Honda Marine, your leader of this race number 6, and the leader of the series overall, and the current 2-time world champions. And in pursuit, there is the group in pursuit. 3 small rig Aussie boats, Shore & Partners, winning group, and Tech 2 is the third of those boats. It's Smeg on the other side of the beat, coming across looking pretty good. This is going to get right into these 3 boats. Nothing between these 4 Aussie small rig boats, harrying at the heels of Honda Marine the best they can. But I think they know that what downwind Honda Marine, if they get a clear lane and if they can boat handle properly, that they're going to have a little bit more speed downwind. So somehow these small rig boats have got to get into Honda Marine on this beat, otherwise it just might be all over.
Interesting here, this is the best little gathering at the front of the fleet that we've seen from these guys. The 2 red boats, the 3 red boats, the blue boat and the black boat, all within yelling distance of each other.
Yeah, look at them lining up. You've got Honda Marine at the top, and then we're just going to cruise alongside Tech 2, and then we'll get all these boats lined up. There you go. It's like a tuning run, Bucko, isn't it? It's like, let's line up 4 boats. There's the conditions. There's your spots. Sail for 3 minutes. We'll blow a whistle and tack. It does looks like they're all in a tune-up mode, but I can promise you this is a very, very deadly serious race. They all want to be best they can in the overalls. There's enough racing, we think, with 2 races a day for sure, possibly 2 races tomorrow. There's enough racing for all the places to change yet. This series is not over yet. Honda Marine doing their best in this race to try and shut the series out as much as they can. They can't fully finish it this race, but they can stamp their dominance on it more. It's all about winning group, not dropping too many points, preferably taking some points off Honda Marine, and Shore & Partners yet could be the surprise package in the overall here when that 23rd place is a drop.
Yeah. Just looking at that, Jimmy, Tech 2 certainly no slower than the other guys, is he?
Oh, it's awesome, isn't it? Like looking at them going along here, like, obviously Honda on the big rig, but these 3 with the, you got 1 Doyle setup, you got 2 North setups there. Slightly different in the North setups, but there's definitely no loss of speed out of Tech 2, is there?
No. And I think the point I was trying to make was he does look like he might be a bit quicker than winning.
Yeah, it's not a lot in it, is there? Certainly Michael Coxon, Coco from North Sails was said earlier on today that Tech 2's rig is identical to Honda Marine's. Same mast, same sails, same everything. No reason why there should be any difference between those 2 boats in pure rig performance.
Yeah. So now where we are, we're travelling alongside Tech 2, the eastern side of the track, breeze back down into big rig territory. How about that?
It has softened, isn't it, because we've come up and we thought, Jimmy, we were talking about it getting breeze at the top, and I would have been with you 100% on that, but actually our reality, maybe on this side of the harbour, definitely dropped. It's softer. You wouldn't be unhappy to be on a big rig right now. Yeah,
it's definitely lighter on this side, that's for sure. Like looking over to like the Mossman side, you can still see there's breeze on the water there. So.
And do you think that's why winning group tacked away, maybe just searching for a bit more pressure there?
Searching, you got to, trucking along with these guys, I think you'll find they would just be, almost like soldier course sailing. So they're doing the right thing.
And Honda Marine not far from that top mark now. Certainly they seem to have more height against the small rig boats. Maybe not quite so much fast forward. But net, small gain to Honda Marine up this last piece of the beat.
Honda leading by more than a minute, Mark.
Yeah, they've extended here, haven't they? They've got a bit of a little local lefty by the looks of it as well. It's all coming good for Honda Marine right now. And I think it might come pretty good for Smeg as well. Shore & Partners, you're watching now, tacking. They're in a nasty knock just there, which they had to send into a bit.
And no wind.
Nothing like enough wind for a small rig. I think Smeg are going to come out of this looking good. They went much more hard left, and they've been trucking along very nicely indeed. I think we might see Smeg in second, but it'll be close between Smeg and Shore & Partners.
Yeah, no, I would say Smeg is in second.
Yeah, there we go. Honda Marine execute the tack. Of course, fairway set of the top mark, and it's run down to the finish. And just as we said, it's gone softer. The breeze is back up again. Fresh,
down the middle of the funnel. It's working on the right edge, not very windy.
So localised, isn't it? There is enough wind to make you think twice about this bearaway. I'm sure these guys will be cool, calm and collected, but certainly if you were a less experienced skiff crew, you'd be thinking a little bit about exactly how this next manoeuvre is going to go.
I don't think there's any less or inexperience about these guys, mate.
That's for sure. What do you reckon, Jimmy? 15, 16 knots in this puff?
Yeah, easy.
Top of the range for the big rig, but look at that, absolutely no
Textbook.
drama.
Textbook.
Beautiful. That's how you do it. That's the exhibition video of a super calm video bearaway in top end of a big rig. Great job, leader Honda Marine, big rig downwind. They're going to have to make sure they don't get into a muddle with Shaw and Partners. I think they're just ahead of Shaw and Partners.
Yep.
You can see them about to come across the screen. Yep, that worked out well for them. So they are launched and gone. If they keep the boat upright, this is going to be another race win for Honda Marine. Behind them, it is Smeg in the end, who actually chooses the left-hand side of the beat. They were going pretty quickly all the time, but extra pressure for the last plate of the beat. A little bit of a lift, and there they go. Great job by Mick Lane. He goes into second overall.
And you have a look at that. Winning group tacked off, went back to that more pressure on the left and paid dividends for them. Ahead of Shaw and Partners and Tech 2.
Well, at one stage, Jimmy, I was looking at Shaw and Partners. They were less than 2 strings.
Yep.
When they tacked, they ran into a spot of not very much wind on the Nielsen Park side, and that's hurt them considerably. Maybe scratching their heads about that.
Yeah, well, dude. Shaw and Partners, remember, were leading at the top mark at the first time. They were second at the bottom mark, and they're in good shape all the way up that beat. Just at the end, they got caught on the right-hand side. It went light and it went ugly. And all the guys on the left made a big gain of them. That's the story of Shaw and Partners' race so far. Behind them, there is Alex on SeaTech from New Zealand. And then behind them, it's Finport. We're sort of maybe expecting a bit more of a march from Finport, Bucko. Hasn't quite worked for them today.
They got to the bottom mark in bad order, and they didn't extract themselves well enough from the issues that arose when they overstood the bottom mark. So
Tech 2 only going round now. I'm not sure what happened to Tech 2 in all that.
Yeah, I think they must have had a bad tack.
I think they went to where the wind wasn't.
Oh, they went to where the wind wasn't? Broke the first rule?
They got stuck hard right, did they, Jimmy?
Yeah, I think that's what happened.
They've lost like nearly 10 places. That's a terrible end of the beat to Tech 2. Looking very competitive before that. I think you were saying, Jimmy, they would look faster than Winning Group when they were in that straight line up. They did look pretty quick, no shortage of straight line speed, but getting their boat positioning wrong at the end. There's no corner to hide in this fleet, is there? You make one little error and 10 places, boom, take it away from you.
Yeah, it's really tight competition here in the peloton. Like Honda, as we know, just gone, but the rest of the guys, definitely one little mistake and you're losing places hand over fist.
Back up at the top mark. The rest of the fleet getting around. There's a vet on Noakes Blue you just saw a second ago. We're just going to cut forward to the leading pack. There is Winning Group currently in third place. That's 2 places down on the boat there, trying to chase on the overalls, but not a bad result for Winning Group at all. You'll always take a third. They just would love to be even one boat ahead of Winning Honda just to start to try to make up the difference. And this race looks like, unless we have something strange on these last jives into what will be the bottom mark and the finish, looking like it's going to be a Honda Marine in first place, Meg in second, Winning Group in third, and then it's back to Shaw and Partners and SeaTech doing extremely well on that beat, getting right up into this leading group, and then Finport, Maersk Line, and then it's Tech 2. Winning Group will be lining up for jive fairly soon. Ahead of them, Smeg, not far off it either. Honda Marine have already got that jive in. They're on port approach for the finish. They might even be laying on the angle they're on right now.
Honda on the ley line.
Yeah, I think that's right, Bucko. That's it. All boat handling apart from sailing through the finish line looks like it's done. Smeg just getting through that jive as well. No real drama here. They're on small rigs. They're at that low end of the small rig, and 3 great boat handlers on Smeg. They'll have no problem at all. And just behind them, Winning Group also about to go into their jive as well. So that means you're leading 3 all on final approach to the finish of race number 6.
And part of the issue today, Mark, making it a bit easier, is no big power boats, flood tide, water actually pretty smooth on average.
That's right. There's the odd ferry, just sort of trying to ruin people's day, but nothing like as much traffic as we normally get. It's a fairly straightforward day. You can get out the lead, you might feel you can defend a lead. And sometimes that's a very tough thing to do on the harbour here. Here's Smeg as she passes Bradley's going in the other direction, the downwind direction, and it's going to be all port jive into the finish. No tactical options here really, just keep it upright, keep it fast. And I don't think there's going to be a lot of place changing from what we saw at the top mark.
So looking at it, Honda was the first boat to go on a port. They are very close to laying the finishing boat, which means Smeg is there probably without a job.
Yeah, I think that's right. And then maybe the big rig of Honda will give them even more depth, so they're going to have no problem at all getting down to the finish. Their issue might be getting up to it a little bit, whereas Smeg are going to be right bang in the crosshairs of it, as our winning group behind them. But Honda Marine currently are very comfortable. What is that, about a 30-40 second lead? Smeg about 10 or 15 seconds ahead of winning group, but not under any real pressure to talk of. It looks like the top three. We're just going to rattle ourselves up to the finish line. We'll get there in reasonable proximity to Honda Marine. And if they cross the line in a few seconds, that's going to be their third win of the series so far, matching that to a couple of thirds. That's a hell of a scoreline.
Oh, camera cat capsize.
Luckily we're in a multi-hull.
Sorry, viewers.
That's a test of our gyro camera. And at the finish line of race number 6, there they are. In the background, there's Double Bay, the 80-foot skiff club. In the far distance, there is Honda Marine as they approach the finish line. Just about 2 boat lengths to go. Fairly short finish line, but a perfect lay for them. No drama, no need to go high or low, right through the middle. Honda Marine, congratulations. Another fantastic performance from our reigning champions from New Zealand. Honda Marine, yet again, making it look relatively straightforward.
Walk in the park, straightforward.
Did look a bit, didn't it? Next back is going to be Smeg. That's another great performance from Smeg. It makes me feel that they could just get off that start line a little better, Jimmy. Smeg would be even more in this. They keep coming through, particularly in the fresh stuff.
Yeah, Smeg sailing exceptionally well. Like, you know, crew
Jimmy,
combination back together is bloody awesome.
Good effort with the second rig in, I reckon.
Yeah,
because they're pretty heavy crew,
effort.
yeah.
Especially with big Petey Harris there.
There goes Smeg. So that was about 45 seconds or so, maybe slightly more. Smeg, rock solid in second place.
We'll call it 45 seconds indeed.
Yeah, let's call it 45 seconds. There we go. And in third place, winning group are approaching. They also will better find their way down to the finish line, probably without a jibe. A little high on the lay right now, coming straight at us. There's the camera cat. We're right by the committee boat, and they are going to have to put a little jibe in actually just to get down there. Or is it a little float deep thing? Now they've decided to go for the jibe, do the right thing. Make sure they keep it tidy. Winning group score a third place. The series is still alive with them in third. They dropped 2 more points from Honda Marine, but it is still alive. Stuff can happen, particularly if we have the 3 races yet to come that we're expecting to happen in total. 1 more race today, of course. Stay tuned, don't go away. There is another race going to come straight after this one, and then we are hoping that we will get 2 final races tomorrow to close out the series.
The big rig over the little rig here, Bucko.
Yeah, no, Finport having a crack on the leeward edge of Shaw and Partners, and
Seatech
as
get
well
both of them
with a little rig. Well, Seatech was in front earlier, so...
Well, port starboard time, lads. Ginge giving it the starboard call quite right. Actually, he's clear ahead anyway, I think.
Yep.
Good job by Seatech. Great finish from him.
Seatech 4th, Shaw and Partners 5th,
so
Finport 6th.
I'm not quite sure where Seatech were at the bottom up last time, Jimmy. 10th, 9th, 10th, something like that. So a great last beat and great last run from Alex Flemings on Seatech.
Yeah. The Kiwis are all coming to the top, and here's Tech 2, Bird and Bear, Royal Oak and Maersk Line all come into the line at once.
And the third of the Kiwi boats, Maersk Line, also having a decent race here as well. And I'm not quite sure why Maersk Line didn't just keep going then. I'm not sure why they jibed. They had a whole world of starboard rights, but anyway, for some reason they jibed there. That cost them a place. And they crossed the line, followed by Royal Oak, and there's Vintech. And Noakes Blue, who were looking a lot better for a while, but fell off a little bit the last part of this race.
Still a good result for them, right?
Yeah, still a good result. Still, yeah, absolutely. Competitive again. I haven't seen Noakes red yet. I've got a feeling they're a long way back, which is disappointing for Sean Langman. Of course, he was in pretty good shape halfway up that first beat, and then he had a port starboard with Tech 2, and he ended up doing a crash tack and a capsize, which was not his fault. Tech 2 did their turns, but that doesn't really help Sean a lot. He'll be a bit dark, I'm sure, but he's going to have to come back from that.
So, troops, just thinking about the next race, and I'm not going to open up the device to download any more data, but it doesn't look as if the breeze is going to build any more.
No, it's got that look about it, doesn't it, Bucko?
Yep. You know, it looks like it might be just hanging around as it is and structurally how it is.
It has filled in a little bit more down here at the bottom, this like right now compared to the first time downhill, but
yep, just a little, yep.
Yeah, just a little. Hasn't quite got into double bay.
So Noakes and Yandu, having been up near the front of the fleet yesterday, now having a bit of a struggle with a short course, high premium on being able to go at wind mark. So neither of them able to get the job done. Although Noakes, to be fair, unlucky with their incident with Tech 2.
Yeah, hard to come back from those incidents, isn't it? So it throws you off your game, and it fills your spinnaker with water, and it tires you out. It's all about stuff that you don't want. So Noakes not having a happy end to that race. As I said, John winning on Yandu, not having anything like as good a race as we've seen her the last few. So we're going to have to keep an eye on the point scores overall, but we'll get the next race out of the way before we start to worry too much about the overall points.
So, I better write something down, eh?
Cameras on. Can you hear us, boys? Okay, boys, I'm with the winners here of race, what are we, 6? So, boys, you're on the big rig. Everyone behind you on the 2 rig. Mic's off, Christoph. The mic's off. No, we're on apparently. Anyway, we'll just see. We'll just talk.
So winning
another win,
third,
pretty dominant. One jibe down the last run just to sort of cement it. You must be getting pretty confident now that you're starting to get this thing wrapped up.
No, definitely not. We've got the wrong rig on for sure. I'm not quite sure how we pulled that off, but it all came good down that first run there, and we popped out the front, and that was all we needed.
Bit overpowered upwind?
Oh yeah, we're all good. I just think the 2 rig's quicker. If you ask me if I could change right now, I'd probably change for sure.
Were you surprised at the top of the first beat when Winning Group was coming over on starboard that they tacked short of you and made life a little bit easier for you? Do you expect them to come at you a bit more?
Yeah, he was hoping to pinch us off with the 2 rig. The 2 rig's a little bit higher than a 1 rig usually, but it went light at the top. I was very surprised when he racked directly in front of us when basically our prod was on his rack. That's what was surprising, and then started screaming at us. But that's how it goes, right?
Well, you kept it clean and you came away with a win. What are you sort of thinking then? If you think it's the other rig, what are you thinking for this one? Does it change your game plan at all, or you just try and keep it clean and consolidate a half-decent result?
Yeah, just get off the line and take it from there. What else can you do? Get ready for the downwind. Downwind's good.
And we'll talk to the bowman here. I mean, you've got one of the hardest jobs. You're the leading boat of the fleet, and you've got the biggest chute, just pulling about anyone else. Is it a bit harder? You think they've been a bit rough on you at the back of the boat?
Nah, mate, it's all good, eh? You just fucking deal with what you got.
Yeah. That drop at the bottom on the first time, beautiful 2-sail jibe into it. You guys pulled that off beautifully, and I think, you know, guys, I mean, these guys are a class act here, and even with the 1 rig, as they say, it's a little bit overpowered. They're just outsailing the rest of the fleet, as we've seen throughout the week. So we'll let them go and get them tuned up and depower it as much as they can for this last race this afternoon.
Cheers, guys. Have a good one.
Bucko, did you find that a bit interesting that they commented about how overpowered they were? Or was that what you're sort of thinking? I don't think they can hear us back there, but...
Thanks for that, Troy. Just looking around, the committee will get this next race underway pretty promptly. Mark, just looking at the spectator fleet, it's not a bad roll-up, is it, for a lazy Wednesday afternoon?
Well, it is, and actually the best news is the Silver Whisper, which is one of these cruise liners stranded here on Sydney Harbour, not allowed to dock. We can actually see there's a whole bunch of people coming out of their cabins. It's not just, I thought it was just crew, it's not crew, there's a whole bunch of residents on board, so at least we are giving them something to look at. It can't be a lot of fun being stuck on a cruise liner with no idea when and if you're ever going to be able to go ashore. I don't know when they're going to lift the ban on cruise liners, but no time soon is what I've heard. They could be there a long time, so at least we're doing something for them to watch, and they're getting a great view from the height they're at, and maybe they can just dial up on the internet and get our coverage as well. Wouldn't be a bad place to be.
I don't know if the words 18-foot skiff TV are in the lexicon for the average cruise line punter, Mark.
Well, they weren't, but maybe after today they will. Possibly, one by one, we are breaking down the barriers around the world. Possibly, we'll see. But right upwind, we've got one of the skiffs still coming downwind. I think it's one of the less experienced boats who might have had a swim or two. I think the race committee will probably wait until that boat finishes. They're probably 2 or 3 minutes away, and then we'll be straight into the start of what will be race 7. And Buck, you've had a chance to look at the scores and the doors. What's your with drops? How's it all looking?
With drops, Honda Marine tightening their grip, 8 points. Winning group 14 points. Shaw and Partners 18. Smeg 27.
So 6 points and
6 and 4.
6 and then 10 up to the next one, isn't it?
Yeah,
so
6
basically, Honda Marine need to be top 10, and they're probably going to be all right for now. But let's remember, we are expecting 2 more races tomorrow, but it could all end today. That is out of our hands. So from a racer's point of view, you've got to work on the basis the last race is coming up, and then see if that actually is the case.
And I think what we might see here, Mark, is a better performance from Finport. It sometimes takes them a while to figure out the track, and I think they've got some waypoints in their middle map at least. I think you'll see Honda start pretty conservatively. It might be an opportunity for winning group, but they certainly have to win this race to be, you know, in their own minds, in any event, a chance to make any impression whatsoever on Honda Marine.
It's going to be tough, isn't it? I think the best hope for some of the boats here was that the breeze would get up and Honda Marine would be well out of range and, you know, surviving, if you like, on a big rig. But, Jimmy, that hasn't even happened. Not for a second have Honda Marine looked really out of range on this big rig yet, have they?
No, well, like, as I was saying, like Sue Ellen was telling me, like, and a few others, that, you know, these guys, all the Kiwi guys, have all had to train after hours, you know, like late into the afternoon in Auckland. And as you know, it is windy as hell over there, so being out of a range for a rig isn't going to be a problem for them, whether it's the little rig or the big rig.
And what we observed when we had a good close-up personal look on the wind there, Mark, beautifully stable looking rig at that wind speed, whatever that was, Jimmy.
It was incredible, wasn't it?
15 and a half maybe, or something like that. And that's a fair bit of artwork gone on there to have a rig where they don't ease the main sheet, it inverts stably, the bottom is not, you know, overly bubbly. Pretty nice.
Yeah, good job from Honda Marine, and of course all the work they've put in, and North Sails, who's their sail maker. They've worked out just how to get those tiny little bits of design and the tiny adjustments spot on, but I'm sure Michael Coxon will be pretty happy with what he saw there. And all these skiffs have finished. Race officer has got some flags in his hand.
Yeah, we wouldn't be far off here.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be long till we get the 5-minute gun. We might have a chance to interview one other boat. We'll see how we go. Tech's going pretty well today, and the equipment staying dry. And I think we might have one more interview coming. We'll see how we go. We can fix it up. But in the meantime, we're not expecting it to be too long until the start of what will be race 7. The start line looks the same. Nothing's changed. Wind strength looks the same. Looking up the track, Bucko, anything looks different to you? What would you expect to see developing during the second race?
Well, if you'd asked me, I would have expected 1 knot more wind on average, but that doesn't seem to be. It might be windier on the left edge again. Yep. So signals are up inside the 5. Interesting that start, Mark. I would have laid money on Shaw and Partners crew being over the line at the gun.
It was close, wasn't it?
Yep.
That was for sure. They were pinpoint accurate, I think, on the basis that they weren't called over. We'll call them pinpoint accurate. It was a bold move, wasn't it? In the end, it worked because they came out of Bradley's in great shape. But will they be as brave this next time around? Well, maybe. They've got a lot to lose.
Well, they run one of those Velocitech machines that we're talking about where they can ping the ends, and it's like a GPS location. Gives a virtual distance to the line.
Jimmy, I think the Velocitech was on the right side of the line, but the head of the bowman is about
it's 4 minutes.
I think we might have been a couple of seconds out, Bucko, compared to what the radio was calling on our timing. So take that into consideration.
No, that's okay. I'm just
start aspersing.
Just talking about it. So the breeze a bit more solid at the start line here now, actually, Mark. So it has come up that bit now. It's pressed into the leeward side here.
It looks
15.
So similar to the last start, doesn't it? It looks like a complete replay.
No, plus, like I said, I think +1, +2.
Maybe, yes, you're right. Or maybe just a bit more sun. I don't know what it is. But yeah, I think you're probably right. I think it's just a fraction more breeze.
So you might see Honda struggle a bit more, but they seemed pretty comfortable that last race. And the sea state's staying flat. The tide's still flooding. So, the first thing that makes you uncomfortable when you're a bit towards the top of the rig range is when the bow starts to get whacked around by the waves, and that's not going to happen today by the look of it.
3 minutes to go. That is exactly right. Well, we'll see if anyone's brave enough to really push the pin as hard as Shaw and Partners did. And it looks again, the left is probably going to be the place to be. Just a bit of bias, but as ever, you want to get into Bradley's. First in if you can. And as usual, that's where the big fight's going to be. To get the pin and get into Bradley's as soon as you can.
Yeah, the fleet did a pretty good job that last race, though, Mark, didn't they? There was some near misses, but...
The great one over there. Bucko, off screen.
Oh, okay. Off screen, indeed. So it looks like Wednesday racing has been cancelled at all the yacht clubs, and therefore some of the desperates, like a few of my mates here over here on the Sydney 38, Pete Sorensen, JJ Giltinan winning captain.
He'll be enjoying this, I'm sure. Wishing he was out here. Just came up to 2 minutes. There's your 2 minutes now. Not long to go here. The whole fleet getting lined up extremely early. You can see them in the background, and there is our parked up ferry with some of the guests on, the ones who've got the balcony on this side of the boat anyway, can just sit there and see how the start goes. They'll get a good idea about who's over.
You've got a choice between shade and a view, or sun and the harbour bridge in the option pack there, Mark.
Yeah,
you just get an invite to your friend's cabin on the other side, wouldn't you?
Social isolation. I'm not sure that works too well on a cruise ship. You're not even allowed to go and talk to your mates. Very tricky indeed. And we're getting close to 1 minute, just 1 minute and 20 seconds to go. Shaw and Partners again have established themselves down at that pin end. They're actually planted themselves in a place which can be awfully hard to get to the left of them. So James Starr will make it very clear which part of the real estate he wants. Hard on the left, that's
he likes Mosman.
Yes, he's coming up for 1 minute. There's your 1 minute gun. Sean Langman up in the middle of the line, you can see quite far advanced. Tech 2 just up to windward of him. And Honda Marine, as we expect from them, in the middle of the line. Still a little bit of forward to do to get up to it. They're in row 2 at the moment. Keep an eye on trying to see where Winning Group is. I can see C-Tech down, heading down the left end.
Winning Group down the leeward end.
Yeah, Winning Group down there with Smeg, not quite all the way to the leeward end. Still Shaw and Partners with Yandu, the next one down there, looking to see if they can get the pin. With 30 seconds to go. Up at the right end of the line, it's Royal Oak, Del Zotto, and Finport. One of our big rig boats that are planted to the line just to leeward of them. All the boats slowly drifting forwards. They've got to pull the trigger at just the right moment. Here we go. 10 seconds to go.
Race 7.
5, 4, 3.
And there is
2,
the gun. Get ready
1.
for it. There you go.
That's a clean start.
It did look like a clean start. Smeg in a lot of trouble down there, just stopped dead. URM looked like they won't lay the pin. There's a lot of drama happening down there. We can't quite see it from here. We might get a chance to look on a drone shot in a second, but what we can see here is that Shaw and Partners look like they got in there, or did they get squeezed out? I can see Yandu going back. No, Shaw and Partners didn't. They didn't get around the pin. They also are stuck on the pin and going to have to go back as well. There we go, there's the shot. You can see who's actually got out of that corner. I think Honda Marine all right. I think it went a bit left at the end there, Bucko, and a few boats just couldn't lay. Sean Partners got awfully early to the pin. Well, they've got out of there now, but for a while they were stuck, as was Yandu, as was URM, and Smeg as well. That group were there, too bold, too early, and the story down the pin end, well, it's Winning Group who got it right, held off just a little bit, and they are best out of the left-hand side. Tech 2 looking in decent shape to women of them, along with Bird and Bear. Sean Langman on Noakes Red, you can see there as well. One up from Winning Group, and back slightly in row 2, Kitchen Maker, and there's Honda Marine.
In row 3?
Yeah, it is row 3. Row 2's being a bit generous, isn't it? It is row 3, but I don't think they'll be too stressed. A long, long way to go in this particular race, but the race into Bradley's looks like it's going to be Winning Group are going to get there.
Yeah.
Question is going to be, are they going to be able to tack and cross Noakes Red, Bird and Bear,
they'll tack
Tech 2.
They'll cross easily, mate, by the time they get there. But this is a bit of a carbon copy of Honda Marine of the last 2 Giltinans. Don't care, safe start, 3rd row, hang there, sail, just come out about 4th at the windward mark and go on with it.
They're like the wolf stalking the paddock, aren't they? They just
it is exactly
off the start line. Just off you go. We'll just chase you down as you go.
And I tell you who's made a good fist of it again, though. It's Bird and Bear. Up range for them. They're not the heaviest blokes. Their rig looks good.
Tommy will be wanting 2 races, minimum 2 races every day. He comes good in
for another
the
month.
longer we go.
For another month, if you want it.
Yeah, he's holding his lane. He's holding off Tech 2 to Windward, and he's staying up above Noakes Red. So good job from Bird and Bear. No problem with the boat speed. But the leader out of the pin, well, you can see Winning Group on the left of your picture, Noakes Red off to the right, and Winning Group now looking like they've got enough space to tack and cross. Just, it won't be that comfortable. Have to be a good tack, but they can execute a good tack here. They will do it, and it feels small rig right now. Quite a lot of pressure on Bradley's on the corner where we are. We're right in by the lighthouse, and there goes Winning Group trying to choose the last possible moment. They need to make it a good tack. Keep it smooth. Out they come. That's a decent tack, and I think they're going to have just enough horsepower. Yep, they're going to get across Noakes. So it's Winning Group, best of the start and executing a great tack in off Bradley's. They lead the fleet.
Mark, it was barely a 6 out of 10, the tack, in all honesty. Let's see. Shawnee come out pretty deep. A lot of hang on.
A bit chicken wing there.
Yeah, Noakes a bit of an ugly tack, but it's just going to be good enough to get across Bird and Bear, but that not Noakes' best tack by a long way.
So Finport again looking like they might be 3rd here.
Yeah, and look at Honda Marine. You can see in the middle of your picture having to do a bit of ducking here. Yep. Always a little harder when you've got a big rig and fresh stuff, but they're going to find a lane, quite a kind lane actually, a little duck on Vintech, and it all opened up nicely for them, so I think they'll be pretty comfortable. There's no big dramas for them off this corner, but you can see we're beautifully positioned here. You can see all the boats making their decision where and when do they flip onto port, keep it clean, watch out for the starboard attackers coming into them. Plenty to think about here, and you've got to have your boat handy up to scratch.
And Tech 2 had to duck Finport and then thread the needle between Vintech and Smeg. Wow. That's living dangerously, but they did it.
It was just after attack too, so they're one of the hardest manoeuvres. You got that's a sheet, and if you're not 100% ready for the dump and everything, it goes pear-shaped very quickly.
And you need a bit of hang off, so you've got a couple of things to do in short order.
Very short order, Bucko.
Winning Group already coming back to the left-hand side, still our clear leader, and crossing Smeg, Finport, Vintech comfortably.
So it's actually a very definitive, safe version of the beat here, Mark. You know, Winning Group went the absolute statutory minimum out to the right, back into the left as quickly as they could. So, and you know, these guys have sailed up this track, you know, probably 500 times.
Yeah, they have. I mean, all they can do is get a bullet in and hope the Honda Marine have a problem.
Yep.
And I got a feeling that Honda Marine, who are currently on port tack, middle of the harbour, they just might go all the way to the other side, minimise tacks, keep out of everybody's way, and let the boat speed get them into a decent position maybe attack downwind. I think they're going to keep it conservative. They'd be crazy to do anything different. Winning Group doing what they can, which is go out there and try and win the race. And our leader, Winning Group, going into the hard left. And to lure to them, we're alongside Noakes Blue of Vet Heritage, having yet another competitive day on the race course. But Winning Group leading into the hard left. Lovely shot from the drone straight above them off their bow. And here's a Vet, just about 10 boat lengths to Luda. Winning Group also going hard left. We're about to see that attack from them, I think. Let's wait another couple of seconds, find the exact right spot. Taking their time, here they go. This is going to be the exact right spot the Vet was looking for. And through they go. And a pretty nice tack from Noakes Blue. So these are the boats in the hard left. You're going to see off Vet's bow, you're going to see Finport, who's going to just cross her on starboard, and then Bird and Bear, and there's Noakes Red. And in the far distance, Smeg and Tech 2 coming back across. There's not a lot between the top 10. Winning Group has got a little bit of a jump, probably 20 seconds, but then the next 7 or 8 boats, there's just the odd boat length between them, much like the last beat, much like first beat of the last race. A little lighter right now, Bucker on the left, isn't it? A little light spot. Finport enjoying the lighter stuff with the big rig.
And a nice little lifting left-hander. Breeze just turned left overall about 5 degrees since the first race. Honda Marine finally coming back this way. They're in the middle of the beat on their way back on starboard. They are just at the back of that front pack, so they probably will settle in about 8th or 9th at the moment. They're still only a third of the way up this beat, so plenty of distance yet to go. So Finport a little bit inside outside the mainsail, top end of this big rig. And you can see just off their bow there's Kitchen Maker, who is going to be not quite clear across, but on starboard anyway. Finport going to have to make a decision. Oh, they decided to tack away. That would have been a big duck to make. So Kitchen Maker one more behind them. They'll be happy with that.
And Finport looking at this nice smooth water where we are, just on the left edge. Smeg just across our bow. So we're up in what still looks like incoming current, but the water about as calm as a swimming pool on a good day.
And Smeg very competitive in the first race of the day. Right back in it in race 2. I think we're going to see them at the front again. Fast in these conditions, got a good rig set up, plenty of boat speed. Good job by Smeg. And our leader, you can see at the top of the screen, there's Winning Group. That gives you clear clarity on the lead, just as they put a tag in. Noakes Red is the next boat back. Out on the far, far right, just slightly off the camera, is Shaw and Partners. They're literally as far right as you could go. They're taking a very different route here, but in much closer proximity. There's Bird and Bear, Tech 2, Noakes Blue, and Honda Marine, and of course Smeg we just saw crossing off to the left. That is still your top 10.
So Honda Marine look like they might be 7th or 8th at the top mark here. And,
do you think it's going to worry him, Bucko?
No, not at all. Not really. And there they go. They're coming back now. On screen here though with Noakes. Noakes comfortably second. And they look as if they're going to just travel all the way to the starboard tack ley line from where they are. Not sure it's the right thing to do, but...
Well, they're just having a look back there at Winning Group there, Bucko, so they're probably tossing up their ideas. One of their boat sponsors' birthday today, Mel Yeomans from Deck Hardware. Okay. So, happy birthday to Mel.
Yeah.
Yeah, remember Sean Langman on Noakes Red, pretty competitive the first 2 days in the breezy stuff. The one time he got a little found out was that when they got to the very top end of the small rigs on the fresh day on Sunday, they seemed to be a little short, maybe a crew weight possibly, but up to that point they'd look really quick, and today looking really quick again. Remember, they had a capsize in race 1 after port starboard with Tech 2, and then race 2, put all that behind them, come out of the blocks in good shape, nice start, and they are second on the water, and we're going to see if they can get into Winning Group a little bit here.
Yeah. This will be, if they can maintain second, it'll be a rare occasion where a crew weight of 235 kilos has got in the podium in a nor'easter on Sydney Harbour.
Pretty nice tack there from Noakes Red, nothing wrong with that one. And they're going to head back over to the left. They like the look of the left. I think the left's a bit threatening, isn't it? You look over your shoulder, and slightly because you're looking up into the sun, but it looks windier on the left. I think it actually is windier, but I think maybe, Jimmy, do you think there's a bit of left hand in it, or is it just extra pressure?
I think it's just extra pressure, and as Bucko mentioned before, there is that little left-hander over here. So, yeah, you got to. That's the side that you traditionally want to play in a nor'easter.
And looking at winning group, they look like they're smoking into the. Look like they're on the port tack lay line by the body language.
They look slightly cracked, aren't they? You reckon they might be over the lay?
They're certainly right up on it.
Smeg right in the mix here, so just going to cross just behind Noakes.
Yeah, good game by Smeg right back into this. They were in the sort of third, fourth position. They've come right into effectively their equal second now. Depends how far away from the lay line they are, but I don't think they're going to be far off laying. I don't think they'll be tacking anytime soon. And Noakes Red have just put a tack in there as well. And just behind them, it's Tech 2 and Noakes Blue and Vintech and Honda Marine and Kitchenmaker behind them, a decent amount, sort of 20-30 seconds behind them. So Honda Marine are probably going to be in the top 10, but only just. Bit of work for them to do.
Didn't worry him yesterday, did it? So I can't see it worrying him today.
No, I'm just trying to talk up the worry just in case there is any, but I know you're not feeling it, Jimmy. I'm with you. There's no doubt about it. We're about to see what they can do downwind. I've got a feeling they're going to do some damage on the downhill run with that extra sail, Eric. They've got the boat handling to keep it upright, and they're just going to be quicker or deeper or both.
Both, definitely both.
So a bit of boat handling yet to do. So you can see winning group right on the was just slightly over the ley line. You can see that it's only a bit cracked here. That jib's a little bit outboard. Mainsail's nicely twisted, and Sevy's just trying to negotiate with a cruising boat to not ruin his day. That would have ruined his day if he'd carried on there. So hopefully that cruising boat will get out of his way, because he's got to do a tack bear away set, which is never the easiest manoeuvre in the world.
Patience
test
is your
coming
friend.
up. The cruising boat's got out of his way, which he'll be pleased with, but down speed, they need the bear away. Nice bit of windward heel, that'll make their life easy. Lovely job, awesome boat handling, made that look very straightforward indeed. And the winning group round the top mark for the second race of the day. First with a mark of the second race of the day with a really nice lead. Great job from them, good start and a very good first beat.
Big fight for the podium here. Noakes, Smeg, Finport, Tech 2.
Yeah, Noakes did well to actually roll them. The issue's going to be between Tech 2 and Smeg, isn't it? Smeg can get the tack in. They can lock out Tech 2 here. Bit of interesting positioning. Let's see what happens. Noakes go, Smeg go. Yeah, Tech 2 have to take the transom. No choice there. Good job by Noakes Red. Sean Langman bears away in second place. A solid 40 seconds plus behind winning group, who will launch down the run. And then nice job by Smeg right into this race, right into this beat. Tech 2 as well, showing they've got plenty of pace. I think what we saw in the last race on the upwind, very competitive. And yet another great beat by Noakes Blue. Yvette, yet again, super competitive upwind.
And a good effort from Bird and Bear. Big rig, and
first of the big rigs.
That's right, approaching here, Honda Marine on port. A little bit vulnerable just there with all these starboard tap bearways, but they got through that one. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Buck, about Burn and Bear. Great job for them. Then Finport and Vintech also. Nice work from them today. And then just, that's about 10th place or so, isn't it? Slightly lost count. There's Honda Marine with URM bearing away inside them.
9. Honda around in 9, I reckon, Mark.
9, yeah,
number.
that's about right. So that's fine. No problem with that. But of course, that's an 8-point drop on winning group were it to stay like this, which we don't think it will. But if it did, 8-point delta starts to change the whole story for the overalls. So let's see, winning group doing all they can out front, trying to win it. Just saw Appliances online, you saw they're just hooking the buoy, giving it a little tiny drag, but luckily it popped away, I think, before too much damage was done. The winning groups, Appliances online, you can see they're still trying to get the bear away done. Eventually they get it done, and they are away and clean. Yandu are around just behind them.
Not on screen, all that. So here we go, travelling downhill with
Series leader Honda and Vintech just in front of them.
Honda and Vintech. Yeah.
So Honda working on their depth. That's really the only option they've got here. Go low lane.
No, they've got to try and go high, mate. They've got to get over the top of Vintech. You're not going to get through to leeward of them.
I think they're going high there.
Yeah, they are. Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely. So interesting though, a gaggle of 3 boats with big rig in. Honda Marine, succeeding in getting on top.
4, Bucko. You got the URM just behind
the URM
them.
as well,
to join the party. One of the best heavy wind sailors we've seen was Marcus.
Yeah, that's right.
Back in the day.
So Honda successfully chewing up Vintech, and definitely deeper, despite them actually fighting up to windward. They've got a little bit of gauge on the small rig boats in front of them.
Well, they're coming at Finport there, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
They just look a bit quicker, don't they? So they've got the roll over Vintech, now they're coming into Finport a little bit, and then they'll set up to leeward for the jibe, and that'll be another one to pick off. The question is, can they do anything about Noakes Blue, which is ahead of them, and Bird and Bear. So Bird and Bear, Noakes Blue are the next two in front of them. Back out in the front, just to bring you up to date, Winning Group have jibed on the port. They have a clear lead, and in second place it is Noakes Red, and then it's Smeg, followed by Tech 2 in fourth place, and then it's Bird and Bear in fifth, Noakes Blue in sixth, Finport in seventh, and Honda are up to eighth, closely followed by Vintech and URM.
So the best I think Honda could do here is to get fifth. They've got a pretty solid obstacle in front of them in the form of Finport, but they're now gone into full VMG mode, and they might just be able to outdrag Finport into the bottom mark here because they're a bit lighter and their downwind setup might be just slightly better.
Well, the other thing too, Bucko, as Mark mentioned, Appliances Online having a hell of a time trying to bear away, so it is now getting up there to that 16, a little bit over 16 mark, where it's going to be virtually impossible to get a bear away done without sticking the nose in.
Well, and Honda, the first boat to jibe off. Honda and Noakes Blue, Finport later, not very tidy.
Lovely, nice job by Noakes Blue. Then got a high lane on Finport and executed that really beautifully, just rolled straight over the top of them. So Noakes Blue push in front of Finport. URM will be the next boat to jibe. So we're watching here Tech 2 in the middle of the screen.
Tech 2 and Smeg.
Smeg a little closer to us, right in front of us right now.
Yep.
Just up to windward, you can't quite see them, but in very close, 2 or 3 boat lengths. Bird and Bear up to windward, and the Honda Marine and Noakes Blue are the next two up there. But I think, as you said, Bucko, fifth is doable for Honda Marine on this run alone. And then it'll have to see how they go upwind in what feels like an increasing breeze.
Yeah, bit hard to tell with all the little wakes of all the boats to windward of us. But just having a look downwind at the leader, Mark, he's hot into the bottom mark. So I think Honda will lay from where they are. No more jibing. Winning Group overstood again, and that means that Noakes Red has overstood. Yeah.
Looks like Tech 2 has spotted it. You're exactly right. Winning Group are hot and high and flogging their kite to get up to the mark they want to go around, but they got there in one. But anyone who spotted that early, Tech 2 have clearly spotted it, are going high lane early. But that will play out nicely for Honda Marine. Their strategy, as usual, extremely tidy.
Accurate ley lines.
Very accurate ley lines with a sense of what the pressure was doing. I guess with a big rig, they're always going to drive earlier if they could. They had more depth, but at the same time, these are those little decisions that when you add them all up, make the difference between winning a regatta and somehow being second or third. And yet again, very high quality decision making from series leader Honda Marine.
And that's going to get them up to 6, I think, and I make a bet that they'll get past the Bird and Bear on the corner.
So Noakes Marine have got a really tough boat handling coming up here. They've got to do a drop, they've got to do a big left-hand turn to get around the mark. They're going to get overtaken by Tech 2, I'm pretty sure. If not overtaken, it'll be boat for boat with those two. There's Tech 2, you're seeing them dropping their kite. Just behind them, there's Bird and Bear and Honda Marine on screen now. That's back in 4th, 5th, 6th. Winning Group are around. You're seeing them there coming at us. They are clear in the lead and slightly increased their lead, if anything. Second round in the end was Noakes Red. Just there you see them with Tech 2 getting up inside them. Much tidier rounding by Tech 2. Great job by them.
Mark, have a look here. Honda going to do a jibe drop.
There you go.
And
Smeg,
that's got them in front of Bird and Bear.
They've done it. They've got in front of them, and they're going to be just behind Smeg. High tariff boat handling, but as usual, they're up to it. They'll make a little bit of space for Bird and Bear. No point pushing that one.
They didn't quite get in front of Bird and Bear.
They didn't quite get right, but they didn't push the rules, so that's fine. But look, they're physically closer, aren't they? They can now be in amongst this race for 2nd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. They're right in it. Previously, they were back off this group, but they've used their downwind speed to come right into the group. They might struggle upwind, possibly. It is very uprange for a big rig.
But quite a bit of dirty air here down this part of the track. The fleet coming down under Spinnaker, putting dirty air over the whole fleet. Honda, I'm not sure if they can go fast forward, Jimmy. What do you think from there?
Well, they've managed to... Well, they're definitely going quicker than Bird and Bear at the moment, Bucko. And as you said, but with this disturbed air, that's where you want the big rig, but when they get over to the other side to the left, you don't want the big rig.
Anyway, a bit of a lesson there for everybody.
It's pretty busy down this bottom mark, and after Vintech, going around the opposite mark was Noakes Blue, followed by Finport, and then Kitchen Maker and Vintech with a slightly ugly rounding, but they kicked it around, kept the boat upright, and on the right-hand mark looking down when URM decided to go around this mark, so they are the next boat round, and you can see these boats hooning into this bottom mark. Pretty much all have got the wrong side of the ley line, so it's making it a little more dramatic than it might be otherwise. And it looks a little bit messy, but it's quite a nice shot. Look at that, all these 80-foot skiffs flying into this bottom gate for the first time. It's a 2-lap race, so just one more up and down, and then it's the end of racing for today and possibly for the series. We will wait and see.
I think they're pretty keen to try and get tomorrow done, Mark, is the word on the street.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think all things being equal, we will race again tomorrow. And Rag and Famish, a famous day yesterday, 2 terrific results from them. Finally, they're going a little bit harder today, but they're sort of just off the back of the top 10. Pretty decent result, just behind Shaw and Partners.
Ninth, I think, Mark. No, you're right, 11th, sorry, yeah, indeed.
You've got to take into account Noakes Blue, Bucko, they're flying along.
I forgot the guy.
Noakes Blue and Finport are well up to windward of the group. They took the opposite mark up the at the gate, so they're a little bit up the windward line, but up front, winning group still lead. You know, just see them at the top of the picture. They're just on port tack, coming out of Bradley's, and then it looks like Tech 2, who did that really nice rounding inside Noakes, have got ahead of Noakes. They're just tacking now. They're going to go around in second. They will end up in second place out of Bradley's. Noakes Blue pretty close. Then it's Smeg, Honda Marine with the big rig, Bird and Bear with a big rig, and URM also with a big rig. All managing to still make it work.
Just got to sort of slow down here, boys, and just I might go up behind Noakes Blue and Finport. Yeah. It's got a big green and yellow thing coming through the middle of the course. It'll here on screen here in a sec.
We've had an easy day with ferries today, Jimmy, haven't we? But there's one just piling through Bradley's on screen now. But all of our boats, I think, have got the right side. Just Shaw and Partners running it a little tiny bit closer than they want to, but they'll be across. Haven't heard the siren, big siren hooter from Narran Beam, the ferry, so they must be happy with things. And the rest of the fleet will pass behind them safely.
So Finport here just about to, I'm sorry, we're on Noakes, but the camera boat's just behind Finport. Noakes and Finport. Finport just about to get into the stronger wind on the left edge here. They were looking pretty comfortable a minute ago and now looking fractionally uncomfortable. Mainsail fairly solidly inverted. No great harm to that in particular. Honda are about to come into shot from the left side here.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see with Honda Marine how they do. They've got Noakes Red, they've got Noakes Blue, and they've got Smeg all on small rigs near them. It'll be interesting to see how that relative performance goes. There doesn't seem to be an awful lot in it right now. You'd think a smaller rig would be better. It feels pretty fresh, 15 knots or so at the moment, but the big rigs are still hanging on.
Yeah, it just depends a bit how much crew weight you've got. Honda best at it, no doubt, in the world. Finport historically been pretty fast in this stuff, and they're hanging in there.
And heading to leeward of them is Evette Heritage's crew on Noakes Blue. They are looking a little bit quicker than Finport, just all the time slightly fast forward, about the same height. So there's very little between the Finport on the big rig. Heading to leeward is Noakes Blue, not much between those two boats. They are both inside the top 10.
Okay.
There's our leader winning group up another 100 metres or so up from where we were with Finport, heading off into the hard left, which we've seen that she liked that on the last beat, worked out well for her, so we'd expect her to hug the left-hand side of the beat all the way up here. A lot of inversion on that mainsail, Bucko, but Bird and Bear still performing nicely.
Yeah, no, he's got the full blade going there, hasn't he, Jimmy? That's about as flat as you can make him.
About as flat as you can make it. He's just hanging onto the leaks there for it.
No, he's going well.
Yep.
That's a good effort. Good setup. You know, at the bottom batten, the depth can't go below about 6% or the whole thing turns unstable, but that's what he had.
That is what he had. Look, we're up a couple more boats. We're up into the best of the following pack. And off the left there is Noakes Red, and up to windward is Smeg, and Honda Marine is in third out of this group. Tech 2, that you're looking at now, they are ahead and to leeward of this three. Tech 2 in a clear second place at the moment. And then Smeg, Noakes Red and Honda Marine fighting out for the next places. But Bird and Bear and Noakes Blue and Finport are right in that battle as well. We're about halfway up the beat for the second time. Just a 2-lap race, half a beat to go, and then a pretty fast sail downwind in what is definitely a building breeze. This is the most breeze we've seen all day. It's sort of at the getting, it feels like a 16 a bucko to me, maybe even 17. It's feeling a little bit fresh.
No, not 17, mate. I'd say the strongest, if you had the average measurement, wouldn't be above 16.
Eddie must have fixed the air conditioning at the place of pace, but bucko, it's come good down here.
Just a little, yeah, just a little. So just as we speculated, just a little windier than the first than the first race.
And certainly Smeg and Tech 2 taking it to winning group. If anything, I reckon they're closing up a little bit to winning group. So winning group with a clear lead, no question about that, but they're not marching away at all. Tech 2 you'll just see crossing quite comfortably Smeg. So Tech 2 in second. Well, I say comfortably, not crazy comfortable, but about a boat length. And good performance by these two boats. Very little in straight line speed between winning group Tech 2 and Smeg, and you'd have to include Noakes Red in that as well. Just nothing between them, all on small rigs. But hanging on just off the back of them is Honda Marine, and if winning group win and Honda Marine ends up in 5th or 6th, well, you have to be a mathematician to know that's about a 4 to 5 point closing up by winning group, and they need that. If we're going to race tomorrow, which we think we will, they need to make an impression.
Mark, we'll get the abacus out. It'll be after the finish. It'll be okay.
Yeah,
but you would back Honda.
Dust the old abacus off, bucko.
Yeah, no, simple technology. Doesn't need battery power or anything complicated, mate.
That's right. We'll try and get an interview with whoever wins this race, probably the winning group and or Honda Marine. But while we're doing that, we'll use the time to do the maths and bring you right up to date if you're not following this at home. But there's Tech 2 flying across, looking to hug the left-hand side of the beat. That's where they want to be. No, it won't be a million miles away from a ley line if they go for about another 30 seconds or so.
Well, they're going out to clamp on Smeg here, I think, Mark. That's all they're looking at. Smeg hard left, Tech 2 on starboard going towards. And see the gain from going left, though, Mark. Smeg's going to cross them, I think, or close to, after duck.
I don't think they got the right, without starboard rights, that's not going to happen. But that's how close. Look at that, great shot. That's how close these two boats are. A decent duck from Smeg. You saw the bow up at the end there, so probably bow for bow, the two of them.
But a 3 boat length gain to Smeg for being the left-hand boat into the compression on the headland.
And these two boats are hard left. Winning group have carried on off into the middle, so relative to winning group, both Smeg and Tech 2 are significantly to the left, and that has tended to pay. So we would suspect these two boats will close up into winning group.
Have a look, Mark, now, though. Just look at the water surface. Smeg just falling out of the strong bit of wind. Look straight upwind of Tech 2. The next compression up is benefiting Tech 2.
Yeah, that's right. And for Honda fans, just to bring you up to date, they are still well and truly in this race. They're currently looking like they're about 5th or 6th on the water. They could easily end up 5th at this top mark. And with their downwind speed, you wouldn't rule out a top 3 for Honda Marine.
I think a third's their worst score at the moment, isn't it? By memory. So.
That's correct. And the breeze turning left a little bit here. Smeg on a lay though now.
Yeah, even winning group on the right-hand side of the beat going bow up, which they won't like. Wrong side of the shift for that. But they're going to come out of that corner. They're still going to lead at the top mark. Just maybe not quite such a big lead, but still comfortably in first place. Winning group on the water. And in second place, Smeg, who you're looking at right now, and just up to windward, and a little bit behind them, Tech 2. The other side of the beat on winning group side, Noakes Red and Finport, and in the middle of these two groups is Honda Marine. Bird and Bear still looking competitive in the middle, and Noakes Blue and AeroMedia and Finport still in this.
Anyway, winning group with a 1 minute lead here, so they'll just be operating safely, Mark, you know.
I think one or two of the bigger rig boats are going to have a proper think about this bearaway. It's going to be fine with the smaller rig top crews like winning group. I don't think they're going to think twice about this, and they're going to sail away to win this race. Great performance by winning group, but some of the other bigger rig boats I think are going to have to be a tiny bit careful. Bit of extra wash. You always get spectator boats up here, There's the Barroway on winning group, our leader of the second race today, and race 7.
Smeg's going to be second. He's got the better of Tech 2 there somehow.
Yeah, Smeg, in the end, I got a feeling they may have just both slightly overlaid, and Smeg could just fast forward and got themselves out of that little bit of trouble they had for a while, but they're both comfortably on the ley line, both setting pretty fat in here. So in second place is going to be Smeg, looking very competitive. Great job by them. Nasty boat handling here. The tack Barroway set is always a little challenge.
And Ricky caught on the wrong side.
And Honda in fourth, and with a Noakes group. No, Honda, I think it will be fourth, and with a nice little step up on starboard.
Or fifth. I got a feeling it's fifth, but let's see.
Well,
right.
Noakes is well overstood.
Yeah, I don't think Noakes are going to get the fourth, but let's see.
No, you're right. But here goes Honda now, I think.
Smeg were around second. You're just watching Tech 2, just putting a hoist, just getting dialing a little bit low on Smeg.
Sorry, yeah. Noakes group fourth.
And nice hoist by Tech 2 and Smeg. And behind them, it's Noakes Red, which will go round in fourth position. And there's Honda Marine in fifth position. And next back is going to be Bird and Bear and Finport, unless Yvette Heritage on Noakes Blue can have something to say about it, which I think she can. She approaches on port. Nice clear lane for her. I think she's going to go around just by Honda Marine, in fact. Terrific beat by Noakes Blue. Great positioning, plenty of boat speed. And Yvette will be pretty happy with that. She's got to get the tack and Barroway done. Our series leader, Honda Marine, they'll want to do this reasonably cautiously. It's a lot harder with a big rig. You can see how much more load there was for them. And they get the Barroway done. Great job, Honda Marine, go around in fifth position. Now it's Noakes Blue. They've got Shaw and Partners going exactly where they didn't want them, but in the end, Shaw and Partners doing just enough to avoid them. That keeps it all nice and clean. And after Noakes Blue, it's Finport on a big rig. Bit of a Barroway issue for them as well. Let's see how they go. Yeah, they had plenty of boat speed going into that one. That made it a lot easier for them. And then Shaw and Partners, followed by a rag going to get across Bird and Bear. This is like quite a bold call. Yeah, I think they are. Just going to have to make enough space for Bird and Bear. That was a great tap by Rag, wasn't it? Look at that. Awesome tap by Rag and Famish. Great job, lads. That's as good a tackle as we've seen for a long time. When they needed it, they pulled that one out of the bag. And there you can see Bird and Bear go around. It's a gaggle of boats. URM, Marcus popping the bow up just when it looked like it might have buried. Fuck. And then it's Vintech.
Fuck's sake. Idiots and spectator boats, it's lovely.
And Kitchen Maker are a swimmer up at the top mark, just to bring you back to it. Unfortunately, the Barroway's never easy for them, and that's the first boat who's come unstuck a little bit behind us, so we were going to concentrate on what's happening out of the front, but everyone finding that quite a challenging Barroway. Just one swimmer so far, the Kitchen Maker. I think they were on a big rig. Doesn't surprise me. It was pretty tricky. And we're flying down here. We've got just past URF, Rag and Famish, sorry, he did that awesome tack at the top mark. Got themselves out of a bit of trouble. Shaw and Partners, Finport, Noakes Blue, right up the front. It is still your leader winning group. And in second place, it's Smeg and Tech 2. Bit of a battle for second and third. That battle is not over by any means. Noakes Red look like they've got fourth place, fairly tucked up. And Honda Marine currently cruising down here in fifth. Do you think Honda Marine want to take any degree of risk here, Bucko, to try and close in one more place into winning group, or they just settle for fifth?
No, they'll just try and get the dead accurate ley line one drive in. And they've been pretty good today, haven't they? And they'd be fancying their chances. Both the Noakes boats with little rig in, so.
But do you think the crew weight on Noakes sailing, like Sean's boat, Bucko, like we did, and Nathan, you reckon they're light enough to hold them off here?
They probably are. They could be. Honda's got a jibe inside them, have a shot. Here they go. And perfect jibe on the Honda. Not the best jibe on the Noakes group.
Yeah, textbook on the Honda, isn't it?
Yeah. So here we go. Just bow to bow, a bit of gauge. Honda would be imagining they can just make that gauge up.
And looking ahead, much like last time, our leader winning group, again, look like they are shy of the ley line. They're flat out trying to climb up to what is the finish this time, and the other boats will be seeing that. They all want to go high lane early. Everybody gets caught a little bit by surprise with the extra breeze increase, a little bit of a knock. It's just enough.
Mark, it's peculiar, but it's as if, you know, the traditional course is ingrained And they've just forgotten where the bottom mark is to some degree, you know.
Yeah, that is true. Winning group flying down, looking like they're going to win this race. And in second, third, you're looking at Smeg and Tech 2. There's nothing between those two boats. You can see they are as close on the water as it looks on the camera shot. Just a few boat lengths of leeward advantage to Tech 2. But if they're not laying, that won't be an advantage. That will become a problem.
No, as hot as you like to get inside the pin.
In the finish, that's right. I think
the winning group about to cross the line here too, boys.
Yep. Yeah, I think Smeg might like that high lane. That might be a chance to roll. We'll see what happens there. But up front, as Jimmy said, there's our leader on screen. Flat out, flying downwind. They're going to win this race.
Mark, Tech 2 just slightly quicker than Smeg.
Yeah, the battle for 2-3. We'll see how that pans out. We'll just watch winning group cross the line here. Race 7.
Much more stable shoot on the Tech 2. Just look at the two sails. Tech 2 able to invert the luff. Smeg having trouble with a bit of Ripley effect off the luff.
Yeah, there they go. In the end, they are going to just, looks to our eye like they're going to both lay.
Yeah.
And so Tech 2 can use that leeward advantage. It doesn't become a problem for them. Great race, Smeg, in the end, settle for third. Tech 2 end up with second, the kind of performance we've seen for them all season. Their JJ has not really gone the way they want to, but today, right back on form. Second place, Tech 2 crossing the line right now. Just 2 races today, so they will now head back to the clubhouse. And in third place, a ever-competitive Smeg.
So she's a drag race for fourth here.
And it's Honda Marine and Noakes Red. There's nothing between these two boats. You'd think Honda Marine with the extra sail, the extra horsepower would do this. They look like they're on a perfect ley line. Yeah, there's nothing between them and Noakes Red. It's an absolute split finish. If we race again tomorrow and things go a little bit upside down, Honda Marine might need this point. This is critical. They're giving it everything they can.
No, Honda's got him.
Honda's just rolled them enough, haven't they? They're going to get across the top of them now.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the best they could have hoped for. Honda Marine get themselves up to fourth place. Their worst result of the series, but still a fantastic result. You don't mind a fourth is going to be your discard. You'll take that, and they cruise across the line. In just fourth position, Honda Marine, our leader and our current champions from New Zealand, across the line in fourth place. Congratulations, lads. Great job. And Sean Langman will be a lot happier with that after the first race of today. Looking very competitive all day, just getting pipped by the big rig of Honda Marine downwind, but great job from him. And the second of the Noakes boats, we've had Noakes Red in fifth, we got Noakes Blue in sixth. Yvette managing to finish a race as well as she started, about 3 or 4, and stay up in the expensive seats. Great job by Yvette. So she's
got the bragging rights over a clubmate Keegan from St George. So
yep.
she'll be happy if it all finishes now, because she's only as good as the last race. She beat clubmate from St George. So
very
good job.
Quite right. Good job. And that was just Keegan York, the St George member that Jim is talking about in the big rig. He goes across in 6, EuroM in 7. And then here comes Shaw and Partners, Bird and Bear, Rag and Famish. And Vintech and Rag and Famish having a little squabble for the back end of the top 10. Rag and Famish using their starboard rights, and Vintech doing a broach. I think that's an old-fashioned broach, that, isn't it? Just like you see big boats do, out of control, put the bow up, and somehow they've got to bear away. Unless they've done the wise thing, got the kite down. That was never going to work, Jimmy, was it? A bear away from there.
They're a relatively new crew combination together, so they're probably trying to do the right thing.
Yeah, they just need to get that kite down
Pete
if they can.
Matty Walk.
Yeah, well, Matty Walk knows how to get a kite down, doesn't he? That's for sure.
Oh yeah, like all 3 of them are great skiff sailors in their own right. Just new crew combination over,
Yeah, but Merce line. In
big
the meantime,
rig.
they've lost one boat, which is Merce line. Of course, it was Rag and Famish just crossed them on starboard, and now they're losing Yandu. Anaplants is on line. They've got to get that kite out of the way and get across this finish line, which is right where we are, right alongside them. They are literally 10 boat lengths from the finish line, but can't get the bear away done.
So, Mark, where did Shaw and Partners end up there? 8th or something?
Yes. 8th or something, maybe 7th or something, but can't give you a precise number. But let's call it 7th is the best.
That will make you broach.
Vintech broke their rudder in that manoeuvre, did they?
Yeah, poor Vintech trying to did a bit of a head up because they had a starboard boat to give way to on starboard, and they effectively did what was a broach.
The load on the rudder just too great.
Yeah, at what point the rudder went, who knows? But anyway, the rudder's gone, and they're now doing some pretty fancy rudderless sailing. It's still pretty hard to get the bear away, but if they can get across the line and not capsize, this will be a hell of a performance from Vintech.
Oh, it'd be just astonishing.
Well, here we go. We've got Kitchen Maker. We saw them capsize the top mark. They've made a recovery. There's Dalzotto. Vintech with some slightly sketchy starboard rights and half a rudder. Half a rudder is going to be oh no, they're going to go up into Kitchen Maker. Kitchen Maker didn't see them in time. Vintech have gone from small calamity to large one. They didn't have a lot of steerage. They were being pretty heroic trying to finish it all. But in the end, they did have starboard rights. They're perfectly entitled to go where they went. And Dalzotto keep out of the carnage. Kitchen Maker, second capsize of this leg. And there you go. That's what happens in 15 knots of breeze when things go wrong. And there's even a hole in Kitchen Maker's mainsail as well. Plenty going on. I hope the sailors on Vintech are in good shape. They are under the other boat. Let's hope we can see 3 human beings. All excellent. I'm just
good try. Yeah, they'll try to finish in a capsized position, and that would be a good effort. Kitchen Maker still got half the chute in the water. Not sure what they're thinking there, but anyway, good effort from the from those boys to keep it upright and have a crack. I might have been advised to pull some centreboard out, Mark, but.
True. Yeah, you're 100% right. Apart from that, they did it all exactly right, didn't they? Great bear away with half a rudder, but
strong. Yeah. Good on them. Good effort. So, Mark, the points now, by my rough estimate here, Honda Marine 12, Winning Group 15, Shaw and Partners 25 or thereabouts, 26 or 25, and Smeg 28.
So it's still on, isn't it? The winning groups win in that last race. They finally got some boats between themselves and Honda, and now when the drop comes in, which really helps Winning Group a lot more than it helps Honda Marine. Honda Marine has been so consistent that today's 4th is their worst result. So the drop really helps the Winning Group, and it is, regatta is all on tomorrow. 2 more races, it's not over yet.
No, that's correct. But that said, if Honda spiked up to win the next race, that would be all over.
That would be all over.
He can't talk to him.
It's an unusual contest, Troy. Bit of cooperation between the crews, everybody knowing they're just fighting for last here. So, Troy, which boat's retired from the race? The Vintech?
Vintech. Well, Kitchen Maker's going to reverse over the line, Troy.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like Vintech will drift over the line if they've got 10 minutes to do it.
Yeah, the tide's still coming in. They'll get there.
But an eventful day for Kitchen Maker and for Vintech. It's a day they'll remember for a while. Kitchen Maker at that top mark, put the nose in, did a pretty spectacular full nosy capsize. And then, of course, down the bottom mark here, a bit of a port starboard. They didn't see Vintech approaching. And there we go. Hole in the mainsail, dramatic capsize, and that's cost them a bunch of places. So that looks like today's race. That's all the finishers, apart from the 2 boats we've got in front of us in a capsized position. And I think as our interview boat might have to get called into service with a bit of... Actually, no, we have another rescue boat involved, so plenty of rescue facilities. Today, it's been all action, isn't it, Jimmy? We thought it might have been all over today, but Honda Marine, very competitive as usual, but Winning Group doing just enough to keep the series alive. We've got it all to play for tomorrow.
Absolutely, all to play for tomorrow. The 2 guys that you know, like Sevy's won, 6 or 7 of them? 7 of them, I believe. And, you know, the boys that have been on fire for the past 2 years and won 2 JJs. So, yeah, we've got the showdown tomorrow, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
So viewers, tomorrow expectation for the weather in Sydney is nice, northerly wind, a bit lighter than today, perhaps 12 knots, something like that. And the committee is probably going to devise a new half a course, not as short as a Windward Leeward, and it might use, for example, 1 big lap and 1 half a lap.
Is that your wishful thinking, Bucko, or is
Well, we've had the discussion.
truth?
I'll put it to you that way.
Because that's not what they told all the competitors this morning at the briefing.
So if we do have racing tomorrow, then we are expecting 2 races.
Yeah.
I know the sailors are saying they want longer races rather than shorter if they could, but we want to get as many races in to make it a series. So tomorrow, Thursday, will be the last day of this regatta. Check our website to make sure that there is racing. If racing is over, then we know who's won. It's Honda Marine have won the series again with Winning Group in second. And third place, Bucko, is who at the moment? Shaw and Partners.
Shaw and Partners is third.
Shaw and Partners in third. But we are expecting racing tomorrow. Check the website to make sure that's going to happen. It'll be the usual start time, live from the boat park, with Troy doing boat park interviews at 2 o'clock, and the racing starts at 2:45 as usual. So we hope you've enjoyed the production today. Thank you to all the crew on the Camera Cat as usual. Jimmy Berry driving, Bucko making his usual insightful comments, and to all the sailors, great job out there. And to all of our audience, look after yourselves, keep safe. Hopefully you'll join us tomorrow for yet more racing from Sydney Harbour. And from me, Mark Healy, it's good day from Sydney Harbour.